Live from Mickey Roussel Field on the campus of Riverside Academy in Reserve, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you high school football. As tonight, week 2 of the Louisiana high school football season, and it's a good one down in the River Parishes as the Newman Greenies make their way over to Reserve to take on the Riverside Academy Rebels. Hi again, everybody. Lenny Van Gilder along with my regular partner, Wade Kaiser. We were split up last week. Good to be back together for another season with you, Wade. And we've got what has the makings of a good one tonight. And look, you look at one team in Class 2A, you look at one team in Class 1A, and you think, okay, we're going to see a lot of 2A guys. We're not going to see a lot of big guys out there. I tell you what, when I look at these two lines out there, and it really starts up front with both of these teams, I see some pretty big guys out there. This is not what you might expect of football at this level, is it?
Well, big guys. The training is magnificent today, and they were talking about last night on the NFL game how big guys are. But it's the training, it's the way they diet now, and these two guys and these two staffs do a great job getting their players ready to play for their seasons, and they bring their kids in when their season's over, get them bigger, stronger, and I think that shows in their two offensive and defensive lines here tonight for Riverside as well as Newman.
Well, and you look at the two head coaches, and obviously you see, based on their backgrounds, the emphasis on the line. Nelson Stewart, of course, was an offensive lineman at Newman, went on to play at Tulane, and has been now 19 seasons at his alma mater as head coach. Lee Roussel was an offensive line coach in a number of different places. Of course, coached with Jay Roth at Rummel, coached at Nichols, and then came back here, chance to run his own program at Riverside now in his second year. So it's you see that emphasis, but there's some pretty good guys behind him as well now that they're going to be blocking for, and one of the things that I talked about in the pregame hit on Ken Trahan's original just a little bit ago is both these teams lost some obviously high-profile players. Of course, you start with Arch Manning at Newman. On the Riverside point of view, you look at Bill Davis, the running back. The guys who've come in are doing a pretty decent job. Eli Friend last week, 189 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, ran for another 67. And then Dedrick Lasty has taken over at running back for Riverside, averaged 15 yards a carry last week, 218 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's going to touch the ball a little bit here this evening, and you just say both those guys are going to have their hands on the ball quite a bit, and they will have a lot to do with the outcome of this game.
Well, the secret word here is reload, right? And Newman is always going to reload with a guy at quarterback, and that quarterback is Eli Friend. Look, he sat behind Mr. Manning, who's gone off, and he's in Austin now, but this young junior is going to have 2 great years to put his stamp on this prolific offense, and then, of course, look, what is Riverside without a running back? Riverside has had running backs as far back as the 90s, right, when I was coaching against Coach Roussel right here in this stadium, and they're going to find themselves a running back, and they're going to run the football. They'll find one way to do it or not, and that's going to be in the hands of Mr. Lasty, who did a great job last week.
And now, look, you're going to have to look closely to see him out there, okay? He's 5'3", 130 pounds. He is a little guy, but he can move and maybe get lost behind some of those big linemen in front of him. So it'll be interesting to watch that. Captains meeting at the center of the field as we are getting set for kickoff between Newman and Riverside. Recently, series has been all Newman. They've won 5 in a row. A close one in 2017, 31-30. Since then, a little bit more of a spread. The game we did here in 2020, Newman won at 31-26. But the other game's a little more lopsided. And before that, Riverside had won 6 in a row. So you've got them on both sides in terms of streaks there. And of course, the last time Riverside won in this series, 2016, well, they went on to win a state championship.
Right, and but there's a lot of history between these two schools. They've been playing for a long, long time, right? So this is what you call a good old rivalry here in South Louisiana, and it's been great for a long, long time, and we should expect to have another great one here tonight.
Okay, Riverside won the toss and elected to defer, so Newman is going to get the football first, and we'll be moving right to left as we get this underway. And we will have our opening prayer followed by the Star-Spangled Banner here from Reserve.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, we ask your blessing on the game we are about to play. Give each one of us the courage to play play this game in a manner which by our words and our actions is pleasing to you. Let us enter into this competition in a spirit of sportsmanship and with a respect for the members of the opposing team. We ask you, Father, to bless each one of us, especially coaches, officials, parents, and players. Keep us under the protection of your Son, Jesus Christ, and help us be aware of his presence with us in this game. Amen.
Our national anthem from reserve as we get set for kickoff, and what should be a good one here in week 2. Newman and Riverside about set to tee it up. Newman a week ago defeated Hanville 41-21. Really, that was a tight game, Wade, until the defense broke it open with a couple of scoring plays, turnovers, and turned them into touchdowns. And then on the other side, Riverside dominated St. Thomas Aquinas on the road 55-18. So 2 convincing victories for these teams heading into to this one tonight.
Well, it's also a good game early in the season for both of these teams. They can gauge each other against each other. 2 really good programs as they move through their non-district schedules, getting ready for their district schedule, which is always tough for both of these teams when they get into that level of play.
Well, and you've got, some key games when you get into district play on both sides. Of course, Riverside in the same league as St. Martin's. Riverside beat St. Martin's a year ago. This year they've got to go to Tony Porter Field in Metairie in week 6, and that's already a game certainly circled on a lot of people's radars. And then, of course, Newman in their league, Country Day, St. Charles Catholic, a couple of rivalry games there and a couple of big games that they will have to play. And they've got to play both of those on the road this year after both of those teams came to Lupin Field a year ago.
Right, and this game only gets them ready for that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt.
as they head down the road into their respective districts, and when you play these non-district games that have, of course, PowerPoint meaning, but it's also a great way to gauge the strength of your team against really, really good competition.
All right, so as we get set for football, Craig Matt is the Riverside kicker. He's also a starting offensive lineman, so those are the combinations you see at this at these lower levels, right?
That's what makes it great. You got an offensive lineman that's a punter. You got a defensive end that's a place kicker. All your DBs have to return punts and kickoffs. Maybe you'll see a quarterback catching a ball on a kickoff return, something of that nature. It's fun.
Peter Loop and Jake Randall are the deepest for the Greenies, and the kickoff will go out of bounds right at about the 15-yard line, and see if Nelson Stewart just elects to put it at the 35 and start there or make them re-kick. I think it's just going to go to the spot. We'll wait and see where they're going to put the football here, Wade. I'm holding it at the 22-yard line right now. Our crew from the South Louisiana Officials Association talking it over, and now they'll get it right, move it up forward towards the 35, and that's where we'll get this thing underway. And with it, we get our first look at Eli Friend, the 6'2", 200-pound junior. Again, a week ago, 9 of 13, 189 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have 1 interception, also rushed for 67 yards. Trips in that triangle, look to the bottom of your screen there, with one receiver to the top and a single setback. That is Randall, I believe. Yes. Friend. Looking, fires, caught, gets it to his big tight end, Will Lorzel, the South Alabama commit, 6'6", 250 pounds. And he will get it out near midfield to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, immediately you see the strength in Friend's arm. Look at him zip this ball into that curl route, set right down between the safety and the corner and the linebacker, made a big target. Friend puts it right through his double eights, right?
Now 2 in the backfield. Give it away this time. And Randall on the carry will get a couple, maybe 3 off the left side. Jake Randall, the sophomore running back, had 21 carries for 90 yards a week ago. Gets it across the 50 to the 49 where it'll be 2nd down and 8. This is a little screen and a lot of room to run down the near sideline, and Anthony Jones will step out of bounds at the 28-yard line after a gain of 21.
Already we've seen 3 different formations out of Newman. That's what you're going to get from Nelson Stewart, head coach as well as the offensive coordinator. He's going to give you a plethora of formations. He's going to see how you're going to line up against it. Then he's going to play the numbers. And right there, he went empty, and he threw the little tunnel screen out to Jones. Jones has a nice pickup for a 1st down.
Talking to Nelson before the game, he's got a lot of respect for this coaching staff. Lee Russell and, of course, Chris Lashney back here as defensive coordinator, and knows you're going to get a lot of different looks. That time, the Friend faked the handoff to Randall, tried to keep it straight ahead, and it looks like he lost about a yard on the play.
Yeah, a little misread on the zone read right there, and he should have gone ahead and given that to Randall as running back. Nice job by the defensive end. I believe that it was Amadi Cage.
Ahmad Cage, number 99, a freshman, 5'8", 230 pounds. But you're going to see a lot of freshmen and sophomores and even some 8th graders on the field tonight for Riverside. Pass is in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Anthony Jones, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
Well, 1, he should have caught it, right? Number 2, did you see the cushion? Look at the cushion on your replay, folks at home. A lot of cushion there. You'll see Newman come back to this. They run a simple little slant route. Look, there's nobody in a blue jersey within 10 yards of them. They'll come back to that, I'm sure. If they're going to get that type of cushion all night, it could be
could see a lot of slants.
Right, I was going to say like a pinball with the stats for Eli Friend.
So on 3rd and 11, line to make is the 18. Play clock at 3. Friend looking, far sideline, pass is caught, touchdown. Check that. That was DJ Thomas on the reception.
Yeah, well, DJ Thomas got even and he was leaving, right? So he runs right past the defender. The defender stopped his feet. The corner on that side, you can see it right there. That was, I believe, Jaden Butler over there at that corner. He stopped his feet. And if you stop your feet, somebody's going to go right past you. And that's exactly what DJ Thomas did. He blew right past him. Touchdown, Greenies.
We had movement before the snap. Jacob Dusansky is on to try the extra point. Pretty good kicker, Wade. Was 2 out of 3 last week, made all 5 of his extra points. They're not afraid to try some things with him. The call is offside against Riverside, so it'll move it a little bit closer. So a good start for Friend in the Newman offense. Friend goes 3 for 4 for 64 yards on that opening drive. And Dusansky will get reset here. And his kick is good. A little late with the signal there. 6 plays, 65 yards, took a minute and 41 seconds off the clock. And that's how this one gets started.
Well, they stretched the field vertically. They stretched it horizontally in those 6 plays. They ran the ball with their zone read. You saw 5 different formations at different spots on the field. That's just Taylor of a Newman offense, right? They're going to give you a plethora of a lot of looks, and they're going to challenge you vertically, horizontally, and it's exactly what Nelson Stewart did right there. And you got to credit Eli Friend. You saw the strength of his arm. Also, you just saw the accuracy of his arm, right? So Riverside has, they've got it cut out for them tonight. They're going to have to come up with some answer to be able to guard these wide receivers and try to tighten things down to make the windows not as open for Eli Friend.
Dusansky last week, all touchbacks with his kickoff. So let's see what he shows here. Now, granted, the one thing you got to consider is Newman plays on turf, and this is natural grass, and that can be a little bit different with kicker's footing. There's Dusansky's kick, and this is going to be returnable from about the 3. Up the near hash. That was Kenrick Johnson, just an 8th grader. We mentioned we'll see some young guys here. You see him at a number of different positions tonight, including right there, as you just did, a kick returner.
Well, if you can play as an 8th grader, you're going to get an opportunity to play, especially in a small 1A school. You're going to get a chance to get on the field and show your talents. And this 8th grader is going to get his shot. Got it last week. We'll get another shot here again tonight.
All right, first look at the Riverside offense with Brock Bourgeois at quarterback, the 5'10", 165-pound sophomore. Two-sport athlete, plays shortstop on the baseball team. And he's got Lasty right alongside and whistles before this one can get started. And it's going to go against the Rebels.
Well, that's not the way you want to start right on your first play. Now you're staring at that 1st and 15, right? So you got to learn to hold your water. You got to dial in and stay away from those flags.
So put it at the 16-yard line, actually. Hang on here. Where's the spot of the ball here? The kick return ended at the 21. Now they're going to move. Yeah, they had the ball at the 15-yard line. Now they move it to the 16. Okay.
There we go.
It's only week 2 for the officials as well, right?
Absolutely.
So 1st and 15. Handled the high snap and give it away to Lasty, and he is met quickly.
Yeah, Robert Kerrigan right there steps up from his linebacker position.
Had a nice game last week. 6 tackles, had a pick 6 as well. No gain on the play.
Yeah, Lasty
tries
to cut it back against the grain. There's no way of stepping in there and filling that hole in that clear call. When it's cloudy, you scrape. When it's clear, you step right up there and make the hit, and that's exactly what Kerrigan did from his linebacker position.
So 2nd down and 15. Now 2 backs in the backfield on either side of Brock Bourgeois. Motion 1 out. Give this one away. Once again, it's Lasty on the carry. Not much more success that time. He might have gotten about a half yard, and this is going to be 3rd down and long.
Again, Kerrigan. This time they move him to the outside linebacker position. Watch him right in the center of your screen. Take on the block, shed it, get off, and make the tackle. Nice size on that Newman defense with their linebackers and defensive line. They have some guys that are that are, definitely you would look at being, non-AA size. Would that be a nice way of saying it? Some bigger guys.
Yeah. On 3rd and 14, little screen pass set up this side, trying to find room and getting near the sticks and might have gotten the first down on that. That was Lasty on the catch. Let's see where they spot the football. And they will put it down right at the 31-yard line, and ball's touching the 31, and they're saying it's 4th and short, Wade.
Well, I'm wondering why they're not asking or going to put a measurement there. That's what I would have asked for.
The 7 mark, and it gives us a chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. Must be a reason. Thanks to Ronnie Lamarck and maybe Ronnie Jr., the former Newman Greenie himself, might be tuning in this evening.
That's right. We called a few of Ronnie Jr.'s games a few years ago.
We did.
Offensive lineman.
We did.
Solid offensive lineman for the Green.
Yeah, played offensive, defensive lineman.
Right.
Walked on at LSU as a fullback.
And now I believe he's working with his dad at the dealership.
He is.
I see him doing a great job on the commercials.
Yeah, they're working hand in hand. Pretty much he is learning all the nuances of the business, and it will.
Can he sing like his dad?
That's a great question. I don't know. Not many can. So
that is true. We were down in Lamarck territory last week. I was down there calling with Kenny Bertolotti. It was a great night down at Chalmette for a rivalry with Hannon and Chalmette.
And by the way, my personal thanks to everybody at the mothership on the main campus on Williams Boulevard in Kenner. It got me taken care of this week. Got my son in a pre-owned car, and he's very happy to have that. Punt is away. This is a very good punt. It's over the head. Loop's going to make an over-the-shoulder catch at about the 20-yard line, turn it back upfield, and get it out near the 30-yard line. That could have been very, very dangerous. And we got a flag here at the end of the play. Could this be roughing the kicker, perhaps?
Well, if it's not roughing the kicker, it is harassing the kicker in a personal foul.
Let's see, because if it is, it was 4th and 13. Let's see what the call is. We're looking over at the far sideline, so this may be against Riverside. May have another punt. May have a re-kick coming here. Let's see. That's always part of the option, especially if it's a pre-kick foul.
Right. So still waiting on our.
Lee Roussel wants an explanation right now, and understandably so.
Yeah, well, I think everybody does. Everybody in the stadium wants one. We still haven't gotten one. I don't think we got a indication from the official. So.
Well, now they're going to walk it off.
So it must be
a personal foul against Riverside. It's going to be 15 yards.
Okay. So there was a little spat between Cameron Galvez of Newman, linebacker from Newman, and our punter from Riverside. And let me take that back. I'm sorry. That was between William Darrow and our punter from Riverside, Craig Matt. So someone got caught for the personal foul, and it looks like it was Mr. Matt that got caught for the personal foul.
So we'll do it again here on what is now 4th and 28. This one's a little shorter. Fair catch going to be called for at the 44-yard line. So Newman nets out about 15 yards in the whole exchange there, as they will take over with 5:40 remaining here in the first quarter and leading this one by the score of 7-0. So each team with the ball one time. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that's the first time I've ever seen a punter get a personal foul. That's my thoughts, right? So how does a punter get a personal foul?
Anything can happen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts are, it's Newman's really finding a way to hit their wide open receivers. Riverside's going to have to tighten that thing down. And I tell you what, Riverside has picked and pecked with their running game. They're going to have to continue to do that to try to keep that high-powered Newman offense off the field.
At the 44, Friend will give it away. Coming this way and down the near sideline, stepping out of bounds, Jake Randall with his best carry of the evening, gets 13 yards.
When you run a sweep, you've got to have somebody come up and support. Usually it's going to come from your secondary. In this instance, it should be coming from the corner at the bottom of the screen. All right, that's Caden Brumfield. Should have been planting his foot when he realized everything was a run key, coming up and turning that thing inside to that inside-out pursuit and making sure he set the edge. If that edge doesn't get harder down there, they'll run that sweep all night.
Whistle. And I'm not sure quite what that was about, but now we'll mark it ready for play. Friend, much of the same look there, and this time it was much better defended as Randall goes off the left side and might have gotten a yard that time.
Yeah, well, it was defended by Dayton Gibson coming from his outside linebacker position or defensive end position, depending on if they're standing him up or if he's off the ball. He shed the block, worked his way outside, and he set the edge right there that time into the boundary. Dayton Gibson, 6'1", 175 senior.
So on 2nd down and 9, Friend looking to take a shot. He's got a man. His tight end just out of the reach of Lorzell, who had a step on the defender. That was Jaden Butler in coverage that time. And Lorzell showed you something right there. Well, he's 6'6", 250 pounds, but got behind the defender.
Well, he got behind the safety, Butler. Butler stopped his feet. Key number one as a defensive back, when you're getting pressed, you can't stop your feet. You got to turn your hips and run when you get your bubble broken, and you stay on top of that vertical defender. Great route by Lorzell getting on top of the safety. Just a ball a little bit out of his reach. He's coming back right now and saying, man, I'd have had 6. Just put a little air under that thing.
Friend, pass is caught, but the hit comes right after the catch. That was Journey Manson on the reception. And well defended that time by the Rebels secondary, as it'll come up short of the first. Is this 4-down territory? No, I think we're going to see the punting team.
Or they're going to pin them deep. They're going to try to see if they can play the game they did last week with Hahnville, which equaled out to 2 turnovers for 12 points, right? So, make Riverside have to go the length of the field. Just got to keep it inside the boundary.
High snap over the head of the punter. He's got time to reset himself and gets it away, but it's not going to reach the line of scrimmage. And actually, I think he can run with it. Is this still a live play?
That was still a live play. If the ball
they blew it dead, though. That's the problem. They did blow it dead.
You can't blow it dead until the ball comes to a complete stop. I learned this the hard way many, many, many years ago. There's an old rule in football. If the ball bounces from a scrimmage kick behind the line of scrimmage, the ball can be advanced by Team A or Team B. That could have been advanced by Newman right there. And that ball did land behind the line of scrimmage with the scrimmage kick, which was the punt.
Well, Riverside's going to take over here at the 42-yard line with 3:59 to play here in the first quarter. It's a much better field position for the second possession of the night. And I said lastly, I believe that was Johnson on the carry, number 4, and he'll get about 3 on first down.
That was Johnson at the Wildcat position. Brought down by Henry Jackson, the big nose guard from the Greenies. It's impressive, 8th grader, right? He's not afraid to stick his nose up inside and run right into a 6'2", 300-pound defensive lineman. And fall forward and make yardage. Impressive.
So 2nd down, 7, the ball at the 45-yard line. Once again, now he's going to throw it this time. Got a man open, and it is just off the fingertips of Lasty. I think everybody in the house thought that with Kenrick Johnson running Wildcat that he was going to run the football, took one step, stopped, threw the football, and he had Lasty wide open, and it went off his fingertips just a little bit too far.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Nice little step right there by Johnson. Makes a nice step to fake the run. Everybody bites in the secondary, especially Parker Davis. He's up at the line of scrimmage, and there goes Lasty past him. Oh, my goodness. He wants that back.
So now it's 3rd and 7. A line to make across the 50 at the Newman 48. We got a flag before this one can get underway. I don't know if this is a delay or if this is... Or do we get a timeout first? Let's see. Looks like a timeout Riverside before we could get the delay of game penalty.
Lee Roussel's down there trying to explain something to the side judge. Not sure exactly what it is.
I think that's one of those things. You know, you had that play that went way down the field, and, you know, we're looking at it. And a lot of times that will... Yeah, teams will be slow to get back coming off of that.
Well, yeah, they were in a heated conversation down there. Lee Roussel saw something and was trying to, I guess, get his point across, and got the timeout instead. But we need to go back to that scrimmage kick. Everybody needs to understand, if that ball just does not cross the line of scrimmage, I mean, this rule has been around for a long time. It can be advanced in 2 different directions. The officials should not have blown that thing dead until the ball completely came to a stop and knew that it couldn't and was not going to be advanced any further.
Now what happened was it looked like that Lorzell had picked up the ball, was trying to advance it, and they blew it dead. So as soon as the ball was touched,
exactly.
Maybe they shouldn't have done that.
Exactly. I'm telling you. I learned that a hard way one night on a freezing week 10 against Ridgewood when I was at St. Charles Catholic.
On 3rd and 7, pass is caught. 1st down, room to run. Past the 40, out near the 35-yard line goes Kenrick Johnson. They lined him up in the slot that time. Got him on the slant for a gain of 20. He'll be all over the place tonight, Wade. We said that.
Well, he runs north and south. He runs a nice curl route, sits down in between the Newman coverage. Bourgeois puts it on the numbers. This 8th grader has hands, catches the ball. We've seen him throw the football.
We've seen him run it, throw it, catch it, run back kicks, and there's still 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter.
There you go.
So from the 35, give it away to Lasty. Still churning, and will get it out near the 30-yard line. Newman says they had the football, but not so fast. Jack Nestor's got the ball in his hands, but they said he's down.
Well, they're running the ball against a 6-man front, right? So Newman likes that odd stack, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers. So you got 6 people in the box, which equates to a run number. And they're finding holes to pick through in there, and that's offensive line. And Riverside's doing a nice job. They're being patient on their run game.
On 2nd and 5, we'll play action. Dump it off to the tight end. Pass is caught. And Riverside might have snuck into the red zone here. Brennan Mouse on the catch. The 5'11", 175-pound senior, his 2nd catch of the night.
Well, they'll line Brennan Mouse up at H-back. They'll line him up at tight end. They snuck him out in the bootleg right there. He went out in the flat, fooled everybody. Catches the ball, gets a nice 1st down pickup.
They're going to call it the 18-yard line. It's a gain of 12. And they'll give it away on first down. Lasty, without much room to run right there, might not have made it back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Bourgeois goes under center that time to run the counter play. I like to see quarterbacks go under center these days, right? I just think it's something you got to teach them, even though you're primarily in a gun or a spread or a pistol, whatever you want to call it. When you're in the gun, I still think you got to teach that skill of how to get that quarterback center exchange.
No doubt.
And that's all levels. I feel that way at all levels.
Bourgeois checks out, and it's Johnson under center. Handles a high snap and runs off the right side, falls forward, reached out, almost lost the football when he did. He'll be down, it's like about the 12 or 13-yard line as we're under a minute here remaining in the first quarter.
See a lot of room in that three-man front for Newman, right? So you got the two ends that are your guys that are your bookends, and Riverside is pretty smart here. What they're doing is they're getting a kick out and a seal up on the linebacker. The problem with Newman is they're getting their nose guard blocked. Big Henry Jackson is getting blocked with a double team, and they're not getting the Mike linebacker to scrape off the top to get to that counter play.
They're going to have to run this play before the quarter ends. And they'll give it away to Lasty. Makes a man miss and falls forward. Looks like he's got the first down, Wade.
It's going to be close.
And that is the final play of the first quarter. We will reset it when we come back, but wait for the official spot. But 12 minutes are in the books here in reserve with your score, Newman 7 and Riverside Academy nothing. You are watching high school football on Crescent City Sports.
Turn the AC on it. Remind me to tell you that story about that night with Ridgewood.
All right, so we get set to begin play here in the second quarter. It was a first down. Put it at the 8-yard line.
First down for the Rebels, first and goal.
That was the 7th carry of the night for 19 yards for Dedrick Lasty. A little bit different than 218 a week ago. This is the Wildcat with Johnson still on his feet. And he is brought down near the goal line. They'll put him down at the 1-yard line.
Well, that's a gamey little run, right? Nothing inside. Watch it all get clogged up in the middle, and what does he do? He just naturally keeps bouncing until he finds a little daylight. And look how he keeps his legs churning, and he's carrying a couple guys in white jerseys with him, and he almost got in the end zone.
So second down and goal. And you got a receiver to each side, but everybody else in tight. And you would think they're in there to block for Kenrick Johnson, who will go off the left side. Ball came out. And let's see who came away with the football.
Riverside, of course, is saying he was down. Newman is pleading their case that he wasn't.
And it looks like it's going to be Greeny football.
Let's see if we can see it on our replay. There's your counter play right there. I don't know. It looked like to me he was down. I can't tell by the the camera angle right there.
Oh, they call it a touchdown.
They called it a touchdown.
They called it a touchdown. Okay, they said he got a cross.
Okay, before the ball came out. Well, there you go.
Just a lot of confusion there in terms of what was being called. Extra point is on the way, and it is good. So with 11:13 remaining here in the first half, your new score now is Newman 7 and Riverside 7. Your scoring drive. Ten plays, 58 yards, and it took 4 minutes and 46 seconds off the clock.
Pounding the run, taking time off the clock, keeps that Newman offense off the field, correct? So, that's got to be a part of the Lee Roussel game plan tonight here. We've got to keep that strong arm from Newman, Mr. Eli Friend, off the field with those group of receivers that he has. And they worked it perfectly on that particular drive for that 4 minutes.
Cindy Berthelot, candidate for sheriff in St. James Parish. Please vote for something for this fall. Sydney is a proud sponsor of Riverside Athletics.
All right, so each team's had it twice. Each team has scored once. Each team has punted once. Newman will get it now for their third possession. Kickoff is out of bounds.
That should be coming back to the 35-yard line as it did on the opening kickoff. Riverside has a chance now to make a statement defensively.
Yeah,
if
you got to
get a 3-and-out right here. That would be a bold statement for the Riverside Rebels.
Better job defensively on that second possession. They gave up the first run, but then since then, they got the 3-and-out. 1 yard run, incomplete pass, and a 4-yard gain.
Looks like they're going to make them kick the football again.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Well, if they can't kick it in bounds, that's twice now we've seen them kick off, and they've both gone out of bounds. Give them.
Well, I like the strategy. I used to do this. If you could, you're going to prove to me you could kick it in bounds, right? And I'll just keep taking the yardage until you get me one inbounds, right?
All right. Now we're walking in the wrong direction here. Now we'll put it down at the 35-yard line for them to kick it. Take a look at some scores at halftime. Of course, we remind you, check out the best scoreboard in Louisiana at CrescentCitySports.com.
A lot of good games going on around the state tonight. Had a few good ones last night.
A lot of good ones here in this neck of the woods. Just down the road in Lutcher. Got two state champions facing off tonight. St. Charles Catholic and Lutcher doing battle. Comets with an early 7-0 lead in that one. Now the squib kick. And it's fielded, and that's a nice strategy there by Nelson Stewart. Calvin Drake picked it up and got it out past the 50-yard line on the squib.
Well, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It worked out right there for Nelson Stewart and the Greenies. They have great field position in Riverside territory.
By the way, didn't go unnoticed by me. We got the Greenies and the Rebels here tonight. It's a pretty good one at Yeoman Stadium tomorrow. The Greenies and the Rebels facing off.
Oh, boom.
Two
That's
ranked
right.
teams.
Yes.
On our way in, saw the Ole Miss buses heading from the airport into town.
There you go. Place is going to be packed. They say it's sold out.
Yep.
Only place you can find tickets on the secondary market.
One of the hottest secondary market tickets in the country for tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Whistles before this first play can get underway. And this may be a delay of game. I know as a coach, whether it's you sitting here or it's Nelson Stewart on the far sidelines, first play coming out after a change of possession, you get a delay of game. That's got to drive you crazy.
No comment. I mean, look, just penalties drove me crazy, right? Like lining up on the ball and jumping off sides. I mean, just things like that. And those are things that you work on every day. And I know that the great staff at Riverside and the great staff at Newman, they work on these things all the time. But, hey, you know what? You're dealing with high school kids.
Give it away on 1st and 15, and getting the penalty yardage back that time was Jake Randall, or pretty much. It looks like he might have got, let's see where they spot this, maybe about a 4.5-yard gain.
Yeah, Jake Randall, a sophomore, solid running back, right? 5'9", 180 pounds, ran for 21 attempts last week, 90 yards. He had a nice night against a 5A football defense over there in Hahnville, right? And he's solid. Only a sophomore.
All right, so back across the 50 now at the Riverside 49. It's 2nd and 11 for the Greenies. In a 7-7 ball game, second quarter. Friend, pass is caught. Flag comes in from the near side. The play is a first down on the completion to Randall, but let's see what this is all about.
A lot of flags tonight.
Yes.
Already.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe they know they're on Crescent City Sports this evening.
There you go. Well, it's coming from the line judge over here on our home sideline, so possibly it could be a misalignment issue.
It came fairly late. Let's see what the call is.
Came post-snap, so here we go. They're going to mark it off against Newman.
And it's holding against the Greenies. And we'll have another second down coming here.
Okay.
And look, this gives me a chance to talk about what you and I were talking about pregame. The rule change this year that holding penalties in behind the line of scrimmage are marked from the line of scrimmage, which should have happened decades ago, but finally got changed by the National Federation in the offseason.
Article 10, Rule 10, they changed it. You saw one happy camper when that happened.
Quarterback draw by Friend. He'll get about 4, and it's going to be 3rd and long for the Greenies.
And when I say one happy camper, I'm talking about you. I was doing backflips, right? Long overdue. It's called, our good friend Mr. Gailey, Coach Gailey, always talked about ease of enforcement. How do you make the game simple to be able to enforce within the rules? And that was long overdue change.
So 3rd down, 17. Got to get it out. Or check that. It's 3rd and 17. Friend lets it fly. Got a man down there. Pass is caught. There was a Riverside defender right there with DJ Thomas. Jared Campbell was right there with him, but Thomas just went up and got the football, came back to it. Sometimes you get those deep balls, the underthrown ball can be your best friend on offense.
It's the Hail Mary. You're going up to get it at the highest point. Both guys fighting for the 50-50 ball, and winning that was DJ Thomas that time. It's his second long catch of the night. The first one was in the first quarter for a touchdown where he beat Jared Campbell. Right there, he beat Jared Campbell out for the 50-50 ball on the long pass. You also saw the strength of Eli Friend's arm. And let me say this. Great protection by the Newman offensive line. We've seen on the past two completions. Yeah. You saw the offensive line do a great job to allow Eli Friend to step up into the pocket and deliver the pass.
Yeah, you got 3 returning starters on this Newman offensive line. Brett Bordelon, Brandon Wilkins, and Hyde Manning, the younger brother of Arch. Along with now the 2 newbies are the guards, Marcel Theonville and Griffin Maxwell. But they got some size up there, 290, 200, 295, 210, 220. So,
right. Well, Riverside,
and you're going to see some of those guys play both ways as well. Bordelon will play a few snaps on defense. Wilkins will play a few snaps on defense as well. So you'll see some of Lorzell, the tight end, will do it just as easily. He'll go in and play at defensive end, much like they did a year ago with Will Randall.
Right, and, Riverside the past 2 snaps brought a couple of blitzes, right? They brought a linebacker to create a 4-man rush, excellently picked up on blitz pickup by the Newman offense with their backs and their offensive line to give Friend his chance to be able to step up and deliver the pass. Look, blitz pickup is big. It's huge. You got to work it, and they executed it.
Gave it away to the fullback. The ball is out, and Riverside is off and running. Can they go the distance? Midfield, stiff arm, no. Friend with a nice hustle play brings down Chance Tyler at the 40-yard line. What a sudden change right there.
They hand the ball off to the fullback. Somehow it pops out. I don't know if he got a handle on the handoff. Looked like it went in there a little bit, lopsided. Ball pops out. Chance Tyler is right there on the ball, and he's off to the races. This is a highlight tape for Chance Tyler. This is one he's going to look back, and he's going to keep running over and over and over again. He just wanted a little bit more wheels so he could go yard, right? What a great play by Chance Tyler. Great play, great turnover for the Riverside defense. They're back in business offensively.
And they're in great field position as well on the Newman side of the 50-yard line. That was Robert Kerrigan, who we talked about at linebacker, lining up at fullback that time.
It looked like he didn't get the ball on the handoff just right. Maybe it hit his forearm or it got put in the basket, kind of lopsided a little bit, but it popped out, and that gave a great chance for Chance Taylor to pick up and roll.
So this will once again be Kenrick Johnson from the Wildcat. He'll get about 4 on first down.
Look, I can't talk enough about this 8th grader. He is impressive, right? I mean, he is not afraid to stick it up in there. He's at Wildcat. They're going to run the inside zone. Look at that. Great job by the offensive line of Riverside. They do a nice job with their run blocking, and then you got the 8th grader sticking his nose up in there. It's going to come out to positive yardage.
Johnson had 53 yards on the ground a week ago. He's going to throw it again. I think his arm got hit this time, and this is going to be an incomplete pass.
Well, that time Henry Jackson got to him. The big nose guard got up there, just kind of put a big paw up there and hit his arm.
Jackson, 6'2", 300 pounds.
Look how big as compared to
just a sophomore.
Right, look how big the sophomore Henry Jackson was coming up to the 8th grader Kenrick Johnson right there. Boy, oh boy. Stuck his hand up, hit his arm, ball went awry.
Now they go back more conventional with Bourgeois. Lasty, the sidecar. Johnson, the single receiver to the bottom of your screen. Draw play. Not much doing that time for Lasty. It's well defended, and a flag comes in late. Wait and see what this is about.
I think we got a face mask somewhere in that squad.
That was right about where it happened. It's either going to be a face mask or a hold. They're going to say face mask. And again, unlike what we see at other levels, you still have a 5 and a 15-yard face mask. This is just the 5-yard variety.
Great job by Felipe Suazo coming from his Mike linebacker position. For some reason, they had him standing up off the defensive line. He scrapes across the top and makes a nice hit.
This is 15, Wade.
Oh, my goodness. So that means he grabbed a hold and he intentionally pulled. That's a personal foul. Couldn't see who exactly got a hold of the face mask in there, but 15 yards later, Riverside sitting first and 10
at the 22-yard line of Newman. Option. Near side's a bad pitch. Newman says they've got the football, and they do. And I think it was Robert Kerrigan who recovered it.
It was Robert Kerrigan.
Taketh away and giveth you. He was the one that fumbled on the other end. Got the takeaway here.
Well, he feels a lot better about himself going over to the sidelines. First rule of option football, if you're going to put the ball in the air on the pitch, make sure somebody's there to pitch to, right? Okay, so the pitch back was there. He just was not in pitch alignment. Pitch was behind him, not a very good pitch. Kerrigan's right there to redeem himself and fall on the fumble, and Newman is back in business on offense.
All right, so now we've hit 3 possessions each way, Wade. A punt, a touchdown, and a fumble. That's how even it is. 7-7 game.
I think we talked in the pregame.
And another flag comes in at the end of the run.
Right.
By Randall.
We were talking in the pregame about how important these lines were tonight, and I think that's where you're seeing the action tonight, the offensive and defensive lines controlling the tempo of this football game. Both ways, for the Rebels as well as the Greenies.
Well, whatever tempo there is, because every time we get
in a flag.
we get a yellow piece of laundry on the field, it is just bringing that tempo to a crawl.
Yeah. Here's our call from Mr. Tumanello.
Personal foul against the defense.
And I didn't see what the call was for the personal foul.
It was just a straight personal foul call.
Okay. Well, what was a personal foul? We don't know. But I lost track of how many flags we've had on the field already tonight. Right?
So have I.
So I'm going to stop that count.
1st and 10, Greenies at their own 43-yard line.
And guess what? We got more. This will be offside against Riverside.
Yeah, Dayton Gibson jumped the gun a little bit. Jumped into the neutral zone. They kill the clock. And
so it'll be 1st and 5 now at the 48-yard line.
South Louisiana Association tonight working with a 5-man crew, Lenny, and you're seeing a lot more 5-man crews now. The reason being is the low number of officials out there officiating on Fridays.
Yeah, and part of what we're seeing there in some of these associations is they are asking games to be moved to other nights of the week.
Correct.
Pass in the flat, far side, caught. Loop is still on his feet, and is finally going to be brought down inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal, Newman.
Nice run and catch by Loop, right? He gets out there. They bubble the ball out to him, a little bubble screen. Again, look how soft the corner is at the top of the screen. There he is right there finally, and he fell down. It looked like he got tripped over by the painted line, right? And then there's Loop, makes one person from Riverside miss, makes another person, makes a third person, and he looks like he is down inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like the 7-yard line, which would be a gain of 45 on the play. On that little pass in the flat, and he turned it into 45. And whistles, and we're going to hit the hydration break here, and they haven't stopped the clock as of yet.
Well, I hope the
now
officials...
Now they did with 5:52 remaining.
Officials need to hydrate. Their arms are worn out, right?
I think so. We've probably seen more flags thrown than passes thrown.
And I always talk about when, the deal with not having enough officials and they're having to use 5-man crews in most associations around the states. And I make a plea, for anybody that wants to get out, they love this game, go to your local officials association, get out there and start working junior high games, middle school games, elementary games, and moving into high school games. I tell you what, the kids would love it. They need you. It's a great thing to do if you love the game of football.
With the hydration break, it gives you a chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Rhino Shield Mid-South. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Rhino Shield resists shipping, cracking, flaking, or peeling, and is backed by a 25-year warranty. Get your free estimate. Visit rhinoshieldmidsouth.com or call 833-233-7181. That's 833-233-7181. Our thanks to Rhino Shield Mid-South for their support of high school football and football at all levels here on Crescent City Sports.
Well, I wouldn't want to paint my house. Myself, I'd have to hire somebody, and that would be Rhino Shield.
So on 1st and goal, trying to bounce it outside, still on his feet and in for the touchdown goes Jake Randall.
Yeah, Jake Randall runs it hard up inside. He bounces it out to his left, right, ducks his shoulder, runs over somebody at the goal line, and he's in for his first touchdown of the evening for the Newman Greenies.
Newman up 13-7, looking to again make it a 7-point lead with Duzansky on for the point after. And the kick is good. So your new score with 5:54 to play here in the second quarter is Newman 14 and Riverside 7. That drive just 3 plays, 75 yards, a minute and 26 seconds.
2 turnovers. We saw the turnover for Riverside, run it all the way back into their territory, and then another turnover allows Newman to get the ball back and drive the length of the field and put it in the end zone. Points off of turnovers.
No doubt. Did you see any kind of adjustments there in what Newman did on that drive? Or obviously they popped the big play on the little pass in the flat, but anything else you might have noticed that adjustments?
Again, solid job by the offensive line. Not really an adjustment for this from my point of view. It's more that they decided to, let's pound the ball a little bit and let our offensive linemen try to wear out some of those Riverside defensive linemen and see if we can move the ball offensively that way, right? So, Newman will you'll see, I call it a smorgasbord of everything. You'll see screens, you'll see vertical passes, you'll see the running game. That is vintage Nelson Stewart, right? He has it dialed up out of many, many different formations, as I talked about in the first quarter, and we saw a couple more formations that series also. 2-back formation. Offensive line controlling the tempo of play for Newman.
When you're doing all of that and you're a coach, and obviously the coaches have time, but you've only got so much time with the kids. How much can you cover in the course of a week of high school football? As this kickoff will be fielded at about the 1-yard line, a line drive kick and room to run here, but slipping down out before the 30-yard line that time. And I believe that was... Now, check that. That was Johnson on the return.
Johnson on the return, our 8th grader.
So just to finish the thought there, how much can you really do in terms of trying to prepare your young men in a given week when you're seeing so many different looks?
Look, that's a great question because everything looks complicated out there for Newman, right? But everything up front for their offensive line in their run game, you'll get 15 different looks and formations. But for those 5 guys up front, it's either a zone look, it's a gap look that they're going to block, or it's some sort of pass protection. So they can rep. Everybody else is going to, and I'll finish my thought in a minute after you get the call here.
On 1st and 10, the ball at the 29-yard line. That is Lasty on the carry. He will get about 3 on first down.
Those skill guys have to know where they're going, right? But once they're in their formation, everything builds off of a base. So if you know the base, it's easy to add tiny little tweaks each weekend off of your base so that way you don't have that much to have to learn. And that's what all these great offensive coordinators are doing these days. And that's what makes it simple for them to learn during that week, and then they get a chance to rep it in practice.
2nd and 6. Not much running room that time, and I think just back to the line of scrimmage.
Everybody wants to look complicated, but you want to keep it simple for your players. And that's why football coaches today, these guys at all different levels, they know how to do it. They know how to teach. Football coaches, basketball, if you coach, you can teach, and that's what they're doing each week with their young people out there, teaching.
On third down. Pass, far side is caught. But a nice defensive play by the Greenies. That was Wayne check that, that's 15. Parker Davis, the cornerback. But hold everything, there's a flag down in the backfield.
Not a flag.
Thought we were about to go 3 plays without one.
Right. And it's from our side judge down here. I think that's his 5th of the night that he's thrown.
Anybody asking Nelson Stewart if he's taking the penalty or not? I don't know what's going on here.
Was that a delay of game penalty?
No, I believe it was a holding call.
Was that a holding call?
It's a 10-yard penalty.
Right.
So.
Okay. So there's the 10-yard penalty.
And it's 3rd and 16 now. Put it back
Right.
at the 21-yard line.
His signal just wasn't too clear.
No.
It couldn't have been a delay of game penalty because they would have stopped play before the snap, right? So,
right.
Still confused a little bit. But holding would be the logical answer there.
So you're going to see trips now at the bottom of your screen. With Lasty alongside Brock Bourgeois. Whistles before this can get started. This will be a delay of game. So now it's going to be 3rd down and 21.
Oh, there's your delay of game signal. That one was nice and clear, and they stopped it before the snap.
Or did we wait? Hang on. Did we get a timeout first? Nope. Check that. Timeout first.
Okay, so no penalty.
We still got the flag. The flag still came out, but the timeout signal came first. So 3:51 remaining here in the second quarter. And it'll be 3rd down and 16 for the Rebels when we resume.
Well,
it should be a Riverside timeout, which would be 1 remaining for Riverside. Newman has 2 timeouts remaining. Scoreboard still says 2 and 2, but I believe each team has called the timeout already before this play.
In a couple weeks, I'm going to have the great opportunity to come talk to the Riverside Quarterback Club, representing Crescent City Sports. It's going to be fun to do that. I've done that the past couple of years, and I really come out, and I will say, Lenny, some of the best jambalaya.
Well, one thing when you get into River Parishes, there's no doubt. First of all, they love their football.
Right.
Secondly, they love their food. I don't know which order that comes in, because they can put out a spread for you on any given night. So here we go, resuming play. A little screen pass on 3rd down, and not much doing right there. I think Lasty might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really fun visiting with those folks. I see a lot of friends and folks from the Riverside community that I had the opportunity to compete against years ago when I was at St. Charles Catholic, and it's always fun to come out and share the fellowship with those folks. And like you said, food is outstanding. Like I said, one of the best jambalayas in the state of Louisiana, right here in Riverside, here at Riverside Academy and Reserve.
What do you think about there? You coached in this area. There are 8 schools in the three river parishes. Every one of the 8 has won a state championship. What other area of the state can you do that? And we got to delay a game before this one can get started.
Well, you're absolutely right. This region is football rich, football talent rich, football crazy rich, right? They live for Fridays. They travel to Baton Rouge and other places on Saturdays, and they're going to go into New Orleans on Sundays for the Saints.
Line drive punt is fielded by Loop, and Newman's going to have some really good field position. after the fair catch at the 44-yard line.
At the Rebel 44-yard line.
So Newman will begin here at the Riverside 44 with 3:01 remaining here in the second quarter. This is a key possession. Now, Riverside will get the ball to start the third quarter. But if Newman's got a chance to capitalize and make this a two-score game before halftime, that could be big.
This could be big. Newman, again, starting with great field position.
So at halftime, we'll listen into a little bit of the Riverside band as they perform and then catch you up on some of the scores from around the area. It's a little pitch on first down. Going down the far sideline, stepping out of bounds. That is Jake Randall. Take a gain of about 4 on the play.
Yeah, great. Nice little quick toss out there, but the secret was number 68, Brett Bordelon, getting from his offensive tackle position out to lead the way, right? Big guy, LSU commit, 6'6", 290, getting out in front. Nice feet, nice athleticism.
Second down, 6 yards to go.
On second down. Play action. Pass far side is caught. That was Anthony Jones on the catch, the single receiver to that side, and it's going to be a first down.
RPO, first one tonight that I've seen that I can tell. They fake the counter, they pull the ball out and throw the quick hitch out there with the soft cushion up at the top of your screen, right? Run pass option, he counts the numbers, sees the cushion, decides to throw the ball and take the easy pickup.
Movement up front. Did anybody break the line? Yes. There comes a flag from our friend on the near side. And he's saying there was movement.
Well, you can have movement. You just can't break the neutral zone.
Well, but I think he was signaling false start, and I see the Newman players walking back. Well, now it's offside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's part of his job is to see that neutral zone, right? And if he sees the neutral zone is broken, he's got to throw the flag. You just can't be that slow about it. You got to make sure you get that, you kill it right away, because if that play goes off, then it's unnecessary action by both teams, and somebody could obviously get hurt or something of that nature.
So it's 1st and 5 at the 27. Only 19 seconds have gone off the clock in this possession. Play action. No, check that. They gave it away to Randall. Friend sold his ends of things very well that time, Wade. It's part, look, you talk about quarterbacks playing out their fakes, and a lot of time you got to sell the fake run, and then you throw the pass, right? Well, there he handed it off, but he sold it by going back like he was throwing the football.
You got to act like you're winning an Academy Award. I mean, that's part of the job, right? You got to make sure you carry out all fakes to hold people on the other side of the defense in order to make the play work and slow down their pursuit.
Oh, great pressure in the backfield that time, and that was Caleb Brumfield, the junior, 5'11", 210-pound outside linebacker, one of the returning starters on this defense. It just came in and blew that up in the backfield, and Randall lost about 4 on the play.
Yeah, he slices down right off the edge and just meets Randall in the backfield. Randall has no place to go.
So 3rd and 5 at the 27. Big play for this Riverside defense right here. Randall, not much doing, and a nice job defensively right there by those dark blue-clad Riverside Rebels, led by Wayne Hemel, the inside linebacker, another returning starter, a senior.
Missed blocks up front that time by the Newman offensive line. Those Navy Riverside jerseys getting off of blocks well, and there's a whole crew of those guys there to meet Randall.
My guess is Nelson Stewart's going to let this run down to 1. He's going to call timeout and make a decision here on 4th and about 5 or 6.
And our guess is Riverside isn't going to take that one timeout to stop the clock.
No.
They're content just to let it run on down. And
41 seconds remaining. Newman with 1 timeout now remaining.
Halftime score in Lutcher. St. Charles Catholic 7, Lutcher High School 7.
Good one down the river tonight, as they announce here. Lutcher and St. Charles Catholic are 7-7 at halftime. We are 41 seconds from halftime. We'll catch you up on a lot of scores at the break, so stay with us. Also give you a chance to listen in on the Riverside Band as well. A few games played last night.
When Riverside breaks that huddle right now, it's going to be kind of interesting to see whether they bring some sort of full-out blitz to put pressure on Eli Friend, right? Or are they going to drop 8 and play coverage?
Well, we've got 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen, 1 to the top. And Randall is the sidecar, and now Lee Roussel wants a timeout.
But Lee Roussel wanted to see what they were coming out in, right? See how to line his defense and make sure that he has the best call possible. So now here's the chess game.
A little
right?
like basketball, right?
All right, here's the chess game. Nelson Stewart's going to change his formation. Might change his personnel a little bit and see who's going to trump who, right? So it's a chess match. But Lee Roussel has a choice here. Is he going to bring some heat, or is he going to drop and play soft? If he's going to drop and play soft, he does not want to get into a 50-50 ball jump, right? He's already been in that 50-50 ball jump. He needs to tell his guys that they got to go up and knock that thing down. They've got to be aggressive. If he's going to bring some heat, then he needs to bring it off the edge and maybe something up the middle with one of the linebackers, force their back to stay in and have to block that Mike linebacker, and see if he can't get to him with some edge rush from his 2 defensive ends. That's why you play with 11, Lenny.
That's it. So you get 3 in a triangle at the bottom. Pass is incomplete, and Newman will give it away on downs.
Receivers open. Riverside drops 8, only decided to rush 3. Great protection again by the Newman offensive line. Receiver open, ball off target. That was one of the throws tonight that wasn't very good from Eli Friend. He's going to want that one back. I always say they want that one back because when they're sitting there looking at film the next day on Saturday morning, you can hear the guys in the back in the film room going, oh, or oh, they're making that groan. That is the groan of, I wish I could have that one back.
And a good first half for Friend, passing the football, 172 yards. But you're right, he'd like to have that, like to have a few more and have that one right there. So Riverside now moving right to left. How will Lee Roussel choose to play this? Will he just run it out, live for another day? Give it away. And room to run. Maybe the best run of the night thus far for Derek Lasty, out to about the 36-yard line.
Right, well, I think Lasty answered your question right there. He might take one shot right here if he can get these guys lined up.
Clock still running. 12, 11, 10. Pass. Caught. Another first down. But they're out of timeouts. That's the other thing.
Out of timeouts. They'll move the chains. Clock stops. They got to get to the line of scrimmage. You got, well, if you're going to spike, you better get there now. I don't see that's coming. I think they're going to send the play in, and they're going to go ahead and try to run it. They had better have the play called and get it in. Looks like another timeout is being called, but that's by Newman.
Did Newman call timeout?
Correct.
Or maybe Riverside did. Maybe they did have one more timeout.
I don't know where they got it from.
The scoreboard said 0.
Right.
You wouldn't think in that situation that Newman would call a timeout. So,
unless my calculations were wrong too, I had Riverside with no more timeouts. That's interesting. But let's say if you don't have any timeouts there, what do you do with 5 seconds? If you run up there, you better get there with a little bit more post haste, right? And you better put that thing on the ground. Now you got a chance to get your play in. Otherwise, that play is being called as you're running up to the line of scrimmage, and you and your quarterback better be on the same page, as well as communication to all the other 10 guys on the team on what you're going to run. In other words, you needed to be moving a little faster than what the guys in Navy were doing at that point. Mm-hmm. What this allowed Newman to do is to bring in their prevent defense. You can see their guys lining up way back there.
They've got 3 defenders back at the 25. They've got 5 defenders lined up at about the 40-yard line, and then 3 will rush. Bourgeois will step up. He will let one fly, and it is going to be intercepted. And coming back the other way, now with some room to run, but now the cavalry is getting there and finally bringing him down around midfield. I believe that was Brandon Favreau, or was it? Oh, it was DJ Thomas. Check that. So he's got a touchdown catch and an interception here in the first half. 5, not 6. Thomas on the interception. So that will be the final play of the first half. It's been a pretty entertaining first half thus far. Your score, Newman 14 and Riverside Academy 7. We will pause, let you listen into a little bit of the Riverside band. We'll come back in just a minute. We'll catch you up on some scores. Thanks for joining us. You're watching high school football from Crescent City Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening's halftime performance. The Marching Pride of Riverside opens tonight's performance with the first movement of their 2023 contest show titled A New World. Please welcome, onto the field direction of Drum Major Melanie Brussel, the Marching Pride of Riverside.
See there? That tiny speck of light? Watch it grow as we approach. At first, only an unfamiliar star. Then, a peculiar, intriguing globe. And now, a new world.
And now, the Marching Pride would like to show off the talents of its outstanding auxiliary units, featuring the Rebel Color Guard and the Southern Sweethearts, to the KISS classic, Rock and Roll All Night. And now, we invite everyone to stand and join in the singing of our Rebel Fight song.
All right. Good performance by the Rebel Band. Gives us a chance to catch up on everything that's going on around the state. Of course, check out the best scoreboard in Louisiana at CrescentCitySports.com. We mentioned that game down the road in Lutcher, 7-7 at halftime. St. James going to West St. John, 48-0 at halftime. Another game here in the River tonight. South Terrebonne leading McDonough 35-7-6 second quarter. South Plaquemines leading Belle Chase 6-0 second quarter. The Battle of Plaquemines Parish going on down there. Halftime in Covington tonight. E.D. White leading Archbishop Hannon 31-14. That E.D. White program has made some big jumps here in the last couple of years, and I know you got a chance to look at Hannon last week. It's obviously probably a little bit of a better performance and a better start for them this week. It was a close game there into the second quarter.
Yeah, still overcoming some injuries. Corey Bordelon will have them ready to roll by the time they get in the district. He needs to get a few of his guys back, and once he gets those guys back, they'll be right there with the best of them.
Halftime at the Pit, Santa Mon leading Booker T. Washington 21-6. Second quarter at what used to be called Berman Stadium is now Morris Jeff Stadium. St. Aug leading Landry 7-0. Kennedy and Terrebonne scoreless in the second quarter. Salmon leading North Shore in the Battle of Slidell 10-0 in the second quarter. Mandeville over Hahnville. We did that game a year ago at Hahnville. That was a great game. Mandeville all over the Tigers tonight, 24-3 in the second quarter. Hammond leading Riverdale 13-0. That's a second quarter game. Good one going on at Gormley tonight. Ruston and Jesuit 7-7 at the break. Of course, Ruston got to the Dome a year ago, lost at home last week to Warren Easton. coming down trying to avoid an 0-2 start. Ponchatoula and Dutchtown are scoreless at halftime. Pearl River leading East Jefferson 36-7 in the second quarter. Chalmette at halftime leads Lakeshore 21-7. And that's a good a good performance again for the Owls, looking to go to 2-0.
Look, that's a good football team. We got a chance to see Chalmette last week down in Chalmette, and I tell you what, Jason Tucker has a good football team. This might be some of the best skill I have seen in Chalmette in a long time. He's got a slew of running backs, and they're young. He's got a slew of wide receivers, and they're young. And he's got an offensive lineman that plays quarterback, and his favorite play is quarterback sneak.
There you go. All right, now here we're getting into some really good ones here. Halftime, Franklinton leads at Covington 16-14. So, yeah, Coach Salt looking to get it done there. Second quarter, John Ehret over Destrehan 7-0. And, of course, Destrehan comes into that with a long winning streak as well. And we can tell you we will be at Destrehan next Friday night as they host East Ascension. Halftime in Covington, Brother Martin and St. Paul's tied 10-10. Good one going on right there.
Great football.
How about this score from Baton Rouge? Second quarter, Warren Easton 28, Catholic 6.
Well,
Jerry Phillips and his team, I think, are on a mission right now.
Well, I was going to say they're going to try to make a statement. And I understand it. And I understand why. And I understand what he is telling his kids. And his kids have bought into the message. And I tell you what, every week out, they are going to be just hard to handle.
By the way, Easton Carr next Friday night at Gormley. That should be a pretty fair football game there.
And a packed house.
Yeah, halftime at Joe Yenny. U-High leads Rummel 17-7. And I think that's a recap of everything that's going on in our area. Of course, one of the best games potentially in the New Orleans area tonight isn't happening. There was some question about the contract situation between Zachary and John Curtis. Curtis thought it was their home game. Zachary thought it was their home game. And we have no game as a result, which is very unfortunate for the kids to miss a playing opportunity, especially those seniors in their senior year. I get the, I get the semantics of everything, but find a way to play the game.
Well, it's unfortunate for the kids, no doubt. Tell you what else it's unfortunate for is the whole community of both schools, right? So the kids are number one. Their communities not getting to see this great game, and the opportunity for their kids to play, moms, dads, grandparents, etc. Band people don't get to perform. Band parents don't get to see their kids play. All the way through the whole community, it's tough.
No doubt. No doubt. Some games last night, by the way, H.L. Bourgeois, that was a late game. They had a lot of weather delays last night. In fact, some games got postponed. H.L. Bourgeois beat West Jefferson 28-20. Carr was a 45-0 winner over Scotlandville. Slidell beat Bogalusa 41-12. Livingston Collegiate over Higgins 22-12. Haynes beat West St. Mary 8-6. East St. John over Carver 44-0. And Patrick Taylor a win over Thomas Jefferson 30-21. And Douglas defeated Young Audiences Charter by the score of 46-0. So that's a recap of what's going on. Again, remind you, keep up with all the scores at CrescentCitySports.com. You're on the way home after the game, wherever you might be taking in a game this evening, perhaps. You tune into Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report in its 29th year. A Nash Icon 106.1 FM, along with the original network. Ken, by the way, we'll have a game tomorrow night from Tad Gormley. Pretty good one. Holy Cross and De La Salle facing off. That was a terrific game a year ago. De La Salle made a huge comeback in that game. They were down 22-0, came back and won it by the score of 28-22. But, it's a little bit different Cavalier team this year without P.J. Martin, certainly, although it's still a very good team that Graham Jarrett has. So your thoughts on what we saw here in the first half, Wade, is Newman rolled up 210 yards, 38 on the ground, 172 in the air. Riverside, 122 total yards, a little more balanced, 54 rushing, and 68 passing.
Well, look, we talked about it in the pregame, how important the line of scrimmage was going to be tonight, and I see two really good offensive lines working here tonight, right? Riverside's offensive line is doing a great job opening up tiny little creases and little gaps and in some instances some large holes for their group of running backs to be able to do their thing. And then Newman is doing a great job protecting for Eli Friend. And when they want to run the football with Jake Randall, they're opening some holes. This is a game of dominance up front by offensive lines, and we've got two good ones here tonight.
Friend in the first half, I got him 7 for 10 for 172 yards. It's a big plays in there. Remember those couple of pass plays in the second quarter. One was a Hail Mary type situation, turned into a 51-yard gain, and then the pass in the flat to that turned into a 45-yard gain. So some big plays there, and of course he had 64 yards passing on that first scoring drive as well.
Right, and look, he's got an arm. He sat behind, of course, Arch Manning for a couple of years. Right, it's his turn. He's learned, went through the same drills, throwing the same routes. Manning would throw one, he'd throw one, right? I know how Nelson Stewart reps his kids, right? And Eli Friend took every rep that Arch Manning did in practice, sitting there learning, biding his time, and now it's his time, and he's going to make the most of it. And he has a big-time arm. He's a big young man. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He can run the football when he has to. He's got 2 years to even of course, this year and then next year to even get better. He's going to be playing someplace on Saturday afternoons.
All right, so both teams back in, huddling with their coaches at halftime. I would say back in locker rooms, but everybody's doing things a little bit differently. What do you think was the message from both Nelson Stewart and Lee Roussel to their troops as we get ready to start the second half?
Both of them need to address penalty situations. Okay, that's the first thing they need to do with both of their squads. We've seen it, and I know we've been making some light of it in resolve to the officiating. But however, the bottom line is these penalties of jumping off sides, these penalties of delay of games, illegal procedure penalties, these things have got to stop by both teams. That was being stressed in both locker rooms. Next is, I think both teams defensively need to stress, hey, we got to tackle better, right? We've got to defend better. We've got to cover better. They needed to talk to both of their defenses because they're going to have to call on their defenses to get a stop sooner or later because both of these offenses can move the football.
By my count, Wade, 11 penalties in the first half. I think it might have actually been 12 because you had one on a kickoff. So it's
they're gonna need some ice after the game. That's a little therapy, right? But still, all in all, they have had some sloppiness, and it's getting called, and that sloppiness has got to get cleaned up by both teams.
$296.
So both teams now back to their benches. We will get set for the start of the third quarter. Again, Riverside won the toss and deferred, so they will get the football first here in the third quarter, trailing this game by 7.
A statement can be made right here by the Riverside offense. They put together a nice long drive like they did in the second quarter, a little over 4 minutes, and come away with points. They can make a statement right here and say, hey, look, this is going to be, a long night for you guys over there in green and white because we can control the football on offense and keep your prolific passing offense off the field. So a lot will be said right here in this first drive by Riverside.
Attention, Rebel fans. Mr. Danny T has donated his money that he has just won as a first halftime winner for the game back to our varsity cheerleading squad.
Tell you what, they're announcing the 50-50 right there. Somebody won and gave it back to the cheerleading squad.
Awesome.
That is awesome, right?
That's River awesome. Parish football at its essence right there.
I didn't get the number on the 50-50. I was hoping that you were going to win and go buy dinner, right?
There you go.
But, look, a huge crowd here tonight for Riverside, and the 50-50 is always a huge, huge pot here in the River Parishes at all these schools.
You mentioned those boosters. I think probably every school's got a booster club here. That's always a big deal. And this kickoff is going to go back into the end zone for a touchback. We said that 6 times last week that we had kickoffs into the end zone for touchbacks by Duzansky. And here's his first one of the night. So Riverside will begin at the 20. Pretty good first half of passing.
Yes.
By by Brock Bourgeois. He was perfect until that interception on the last play of the half.
Well, I like what Brock Bourgeois does as far as getting out of the pocket. And Riverside and Lee Roussel and his offensive staff see that they got to get him out on the edge to move a little bit, right? And he does a nice job running the bootlegs, little waggle passes, things of that nature, to be able to give him a little bit more vision with his frame to be able to see.
Yeah, not taking a lot of
downfield, right.
not taking a lot of chances downfield. A lot of stuff is, short stuff to the backs and to the tight ends. Give it away on first down and room to run. Best looking run perhaps all night for Dedrick Lasty on the carry, and he'll get a first down.
Well, he's there fast, right? Okay. When I say there fast, all of a sudden, he's at the line of scrimmage and he's gone. So, there's no delay back there. He's running downhill quickly. You're getting defensive linemen tied up in blocks, and all of a sudden, there goes this little guy squirting right past you. He's pretty fast when he's running downhill.
Gain of a dozen.
The secret with somebody like that is you can't let him get going, right? I mean, that's the deal.
That's what happened in the second half last week. He really got going. He scored all 4 touchdowns after halftime last week. That was the Wildcat with Kendrick Johnson. They faked the sweep, and we get a late flag coming in at the end of the play. Johnson running it up the middle for about 4 yards. But let's see what this penalty is about.
Well, we've got one Rebel with a helmet off. That's number 71, the center, Craig Matt.
That's Craig Matt. And keep in mind, too, he also kicks. So if saw him limping off, if there's an issue there, he's your kicker.
No indication yet by our crew.
We're still waiting. Now we're going to get a signal. It's a personal foul against Riverside.
Okay, again, we didn't get a secondary indication of what the personal foul was.
No.
Well, so let's everybody needs to know this too, that Craig Matt comes out as the center. You need to watch this snap and see what happens. Because you have a different center in, backup center, hasn't taken the snaps yet. So this is always kind of a hairy situation for a quarterback in the center.
It is first down and 22. And there's the questionable snap right there. Good call, Wade. And he falls on it.
Well,
back at the 14-yard line.
I mean, you see that at all levels, don't you? I mean, you even see that in the NFL. All of a sudden, the second team center has got to switch in there and give a handoff or a shotgun snap. Sometimes it goes awry. They get snaps in practice. It's just not like the game, right? So, especially when you've got big Henry Jackson lining up across from you, right?
So this is going to be second down and about 30 to go. You don't have a lot of these on your play sheet, I know. Pass incomplete. Tried to hit Cameron Matt.
Third down for the Rebels.
That was play action.
On that deep end. And
right, it was slant off play action. He's open. Ball sails on Bourgeois. Got to be careful with sailing those balls, right?
Right now, deep in your own end.
Right, it's going to get picked when you sail that ball up. Comes real dangerous.
So they
aim small, miss small, right?
Yeah, they reset the play clock. It was down to about 14, and all of a sudden we had a reset. They'll put it at 25, and now we'll play. Another iffy snap. Pass is caught in the flat, but not much doing right there. Maybe about 3 yards on the gain. And we got an injured Newman Greeny down. Looks like he's in some pain at about the 15-yard line.
And that was Lasty on the catch. Yeah, he's one of the Greeny defensive linemen. Lastly on the catch, nice job catching the ball. Just didn't get much yard after the catch.
We'll take about 3 on the catch, and this will be 4th down on the punting unit on after we resume. But while we have a moment here, it gives us a chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Gibbs Construction, a leader in the construction industry in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast for more than 45 years, transforming dreams, visions, and plans into reality. Gibbs Construction. Brandon Wilkins is the injured player. The senior lineman plays both ways. Now let's see, because you talk about that. He's also the center on offense. So now, if Wilkins is out here for this series, now you got to watch the snaps for Newman.
Well, what you're doing right now is you better have your backup guy over there getting some snaps with the quarterback on the sidelines during this punt. ASAP.
Cameron Matt back to punt for Riverside.
So Loop is awaiting the punt. Gets a friendly hop, takes it at the 45. Out past the 40, falling forward to about the 35, in great field position for the Greenies here as they will begin their first possession of the third quarter with 9.5 minutes to play.
Again, Newman starting with great field position. It seems like all night tonight they've had great starting points in the first half, and here's another one for their first drive in the second half.
Right in the middle of the field at the 35-yard line.
New center in the game. That is number 54.
And I believe that's Hyde Manning just sliding over. He has played center, and just like what Mark Bonise does, I think you see Nelson Stewart do a lot of those things where he cross-trains his offensive linemen at all different positions.
And that goes back to what we were talking about in the first half, Lenny. So how hard is it to put things in each week if it's new, things like that? It's really for the offensive lineman, a lot of stuff is not new. It's the same stuff. So you can cross-train a guard and a center, cross-train a tackle and a guard. You see that at all levels because the steps are the same. It might be a different formation, a different way to get to the point of attack. But the things for the offensive linemen still remain the same.
Randall gets a couple on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Friend looking, hit as he threw. Flag came in. I believe this is going to be an incomplete pass. Yes, it is. Heads up by Wayne Hemel. You play until the whistle there. He fell on the football, but a flag came in, and I believe this is going to be holding.
Well, getting there to apply the pressure, Dayton Gibson was right there, right in the face of Eli Friend. Also number 55, Aiden Bullock, a sophomore. Seeing a little action, getting to the quarterback.
Gibson, a 6'1", 175-pound senior, is a pretty good basketball player as well. And now Wilkins is back in the game, so he's okay. It was actually Jack Del Castillo who had checked in his spot.
Oh, boy, is that nice to see. Marking off a holding penalty from the previous spot.
Absolutely.
That is good to see.
So 2nd down and... Well, they've got it marked 19 now. They put the ball down at the 44, so officially an 11-yard penalty. A single receiver to the bottom, but Friend is going to roll. Let one fly deep, and it is overthrown. Well covered that time by Riverside.
That was
Caden Brumfield.
Yeah,
nice play.
Yeah, look, I tell you what, Caden Brumfield was step for step on the double move. He did not bite on the out move by the receiver. Double move by the receiver, out and up. Caden Brumfield right there in the hip pocket, in phase, does a nice job. It's good to see that Caden Brumfield right there, making sure no one gets on top of him.
Looked like the center fielder in baseball that he is, Wade. Fake the screen one way. Now Friend will put it down and run. got room to run, but I don't think he's going to get to the sticks. No, he's going to be about 5 yards short. He's brought down at the 30-yard line, but he got a lot of it back. And look, this may be 4-down territory right here. 4th and 5 at the 30.
Well, Riverside brings the house. They flush him, right? And Eli Friend didn't have time to set his feet and look downfield, find a receiver, not even his primary. So what does he do? He takes off and runs. He has a few wheels, right? And you're right. I think it is going to be 4-down territory for the Greenies. Nice job by the Riverside defense putting and applying some pressure off Eli Friend's right edge.
And they will go for it. Trips to the bottom of your screen, a single receiver to the top. Friend looking that way, now rolling, firing, pass is caught, Loop touchdown. Peter Loop last week had 2 catches for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tonight, well, he caught one earlier for 45 yards. He didn't quite get to the end zone. Actually, it was 47 yards. Let me correct that. Made that one for 30 yards in the score. So he's got 4 catches on the season, Wade. 3 have gone for touchdowns.
If you saw the replay right there, you saw a great in-tackle twist, which loosened up Dayton Gibson to apply the pressure. What does Eli Friend do? He moves out to the right, keeps his eyes downfield, and he finds the intended receiver for a touchdown. Great post route, great ball delivery, all set up by Eli Friend, keeping everything alive, keeping his eyes downfield and his feet moving.
4 plays, 35 yards, took 1 minute and 14 off the clock. Riverside called for offsides here, so they'll move this a little bit closer for this point after try coming up by Jacob Dzansky. With Friend to hold. Kick is good. And your new score with 8:16 to play in the third quarter is Newman 21 and Riverside 7. Now, I will say that obviously the field position set that up, but that was a lot of Eli Friend there. That scramble on third down gave them a chance to do something on 4th and manageable, and then a terrific throw to Peter Loop and a terrific route as well by Loop, got behind the secondary for the 30-yard touchdown.
Yeah, the route was excellent by Loop. Loop ends up running a great post route and getting behind the secondary. But you're right, Lenny. That was all Eli Friend, right? He gets flushed from the pocket with a great twist up front by Dayton Gibson, who applied all the pressure throughout that series. He flushed Eli Friend from the pocket in that drive 3 times, right? They've loosened him up. Riverside is using some twists and some blitzes to get their athletes to put pressure now on Eli Friend. But Eli Friend keeps his eyes downfield, does a nice job with his feet to keep everything alive, and he delivers the ball on a strike for that touchdown to Mr. Loop.
Please bring it back to the concession, to the press box. Thank you.
All right, we will check. Maybe the scoreboard clock is not running, and let's see if I don't know if they're keeping it manually. We'll find out what's going on, but the clock has not moved for the last couple of plays, apparently. So Dzansky will kick things off. Strong leg, and that is into the end zone for a touchback. And Riverside will take over at its 20.
Well, if we find out the clock hasn't been moving, the question is, do the officials know it, right? And then they're going to have to do something to reset things, or if they already know it and they're keeping it on the field, then they will, they'll make the adjustments necessary.
All right, they're telling us everything's okay with the clock. We'll find out here. Not much doing there on first down. The run by Lasty.
Brought down by William Darrow, a senior linebacker, 6'2", 210 pounds. Comes in with 9 tackles from last week's game. Did a nice job there from his linebacker position to step up and make a play on Lasty.
Second down, a little more than 10. This is Lasty with a little more room to run this time, but that is well defended right there by the Rebels, or by the Greenies, I should say, and that was Jack Falgoose, the backup defensive back, sophomore, 3 tackles a week ago. Made a nice play, but it looked like initially Lasty had some room to run, and it closed up quickly, thanks in large part to Falgoose.
Well, good job tackling by the Newman defense, and that's was something was probably talked about in their meeting at halftime. Is we've got to do a better job tackling and cornering Lasty and making sure he doesn't slip away, because he can slip away. Like I said, you can't catch him in a phone booth. He's that quick.
Pass caught, but it'll be short of the first down. A good job again by the Newman defense to wrap up right after that catch, as Johnson made the catch on the near side and nowhere to run.
Great pursuit. A lot of white jerseys getting out there. You can see them all rallying to the ball, getting out there and making a tackle, not allowing the 8th grader Johnson to be able to slip through their arms. A lot better job on that series tackling by the Newman Greenies.
So punting unit is on 4th and a long 5. Fair catch right at midfield by Loop. And once again, Newman's going to have great field position.
Oh, Peter Loop's a pretty good athlete. Catching punts, nice wide receiver. He's got a nice set of hands. He's a senior. 5'9", 175-pounder. You know, it's not easy catching punts on game nights, right? Those guys are flying down, ball waving around up there in front of you. You got to have confidence in yourself, your abilities, and then you've got to have, obviously, the athletic skills in your hands to catch that football, and Peter Loop seems to have that.
So at the 50, Newman will begin this second drive of the second half, and perhaps a chance to give themselves some distance here with a 2-score lead right now. Pass far side caught. First down, as a nice catch and run there by Anthony Jones.
Anthony Jones just eating up the cushion over there from Caden Brumfield. Just take what you can get, stop, turn around, throw the ball out there. Make him make a tackle on you one-on-one.
Oh, and we have reached the 5:58 mark, and that will be our hydration break here with the ball at the 38-yard line.
Maybe time to catch up on a couple scores somewhere.
Could be, yeah.
Around our region here.
Again, check them all out at CrescentCitySports.com. No better place to get all your scores on a Friday night, whether it's local, around the state. Pick your classification, whatever it is, however it is you want to break it down. You can find them at CrescentCitySports.com. Archbishop Shaw trailing the Kincaid School of Texas 21-14. That's over in the Houston area. That's in the fourth quarter now. Santa Monica leads Booker T. Washington at half 21-6. Halftime, St. Aug leads Landry 21-0. Ruston has separated themselves a little bit from Jesuit, leading 21-7 in the third quarter. They've reached halftime at Hoss Memphis. Destrehan and John Ehret tied at 7. Third quarter, Warren Easton leading Catholic 35-19.
Yeah, fourth quarter score. Also, West Monroe 20, East Ascension 13. We'll see East Ascension next week.
Yes.
Little
sack, yeah.
Little nice problem up at West Monroe this week. Their head coach has been suspended for a little bit, not knowing the full story. They're playing without their head coach tonight, so they're up
Yeah,
by 7.
the reports up there is they've had, I think, 4 different players go down with heat-related issues since the start of practice.
So I'm sure there's some sort of investigation going on.
Yeah, they've got
it's being taken care of for medically for their players. But it's really tough to go out and play a football game and you don't have your head football coach with you, right? And a new head coach, by the way, up there.
Came over from Ouachita. So we've got offsetting penalties, it looks like. Yeah, pass interference on the defense, holding on the offense. They will offset. So the sack goes away. That's a break for Newman.
And they'll replay first down.
1st and 10, Greenies.
Orzel in motion back and forth across the line. Now sets himself in the left wing. Pass batted up in the air, was intended for Orzel. Incomplete. It's a good defense that time by Dayton Gibson.
Well, Dayton Gibson's been all over the place this second half, right?
Yeah, we mentioned he's a basketball player, and he's, that's kind of basketball skills right there. What do you do? You want to get your hands in the passing lane, right? You just knock it away.
First thing you notice about Dayton Gibson is he is athletic, right? They're moving him around. They're lining him up on both sides of the offense. They're twisting him around in end and tackle twists. They're blitzing him straight off his outside linebacker position and standing him up sometimes. He's athletic right there. He makes a great athletic play with his hands.
Fake the screen, and instead the quarterback will keep it off the left side and got close to the first down. Let's see where they marked this. I think they're going to say he stepped out back at about the 32-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd down. 3rd and manageable.
3rd down and 5 for Newman.
You're seeing Newman move a lot of guys around. You're especially seeing them taking Lorzell, their tight end, and they're shifting them off, bringing him back. What they're trying to find out is how the secondary is adjusting to the movement. And then from there, once they figure that out, they'll know how to attack the secondary.
Give it away to the running back, and first down run right there for Jake Randall, as he'll get it out past the 30 to about the 26, 27-yard line.
Newman likes their running game to their left. I wonder if that's because they're running behind Britt Bordelon, or is it they're running into the short side of the field to their sidelines? Look, sometimes coaches love to see things being ran to their bench so that way they can see how the scheme is being blocked and they can make sure they're calling the right play, right? Yep. You just got to make sure you self-scout yourself to make sure you don't get into any type of routine for your opponent to be able to pick up on.
So from the 25, off the left side, a late flag comes in from this side with all of the play going on the other side. I don't know if something was going on between the cornerback and the wide receiver. I'm not sure what happened there. We'll find out here in a moment.
That was very tactfully said. How the action was on the other side of the field and the flag's way on this near side. Again, Newman runs to their left, to their bench, to the short side.
And it looks like this is going to be against Riverside. Or maybe not.
Okay, now they're coming back the other way.
I have no idea, Wade. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. While they're moving the football around, I have no idea.
The penalty was against Newman, marked off incorrectly. Lee Roussel and his staff going bonkers down on the sideline. Finally, they picked the ball up and walked back the other way. I didn't look at the chains. I hope they didn't move the down markers.
No, they did not.
Okay.
So it's going to be 1st and 15 at the 30.
5 yards, 1st and 15.
Who knows? They'll give it away to Randall, who splits defenders and just about got to the sticks there. Let's see where they spot this. I think it's going to be about a yard short of the first down. Let's see the spot, though. I hope they are going to move the chains. First down.
Hey, great cut by Randall, getting vertical, right? He running to his right that time, the Newman offensive right. He puts his upfield foot in the ground, makes a vertical cut, finds a soft spot, and has a nice gain for a first down.
Randall now up to 60 yards rushing. You mentioned he had 90 last week against Hahnville. He had a nice run on a previous play, too. But, again, that was wiped out by a penalty. We're not sure exactly what happened. Randall again. He's continuing to just grind here, and that's what Nelson Stewart certainly wants to do. You've got this lead right now. The clock is your friend.
Second down, 3 yards to go.
You want to run clock. You want to run the football.
Trying to take every bit of that 40-second clock, play clock that they can.
Two in the backfield. And once again, off the left side, as has been so many times tonight, Jake Randall into the end zone for his second touchdown. But hold everything, there's a flag. I mean, the unfortunate part of all of this is there is no tempo or feel to this football game right now with the preponderance of laundry that has been thrown out there.
Well,
you got two good football teams that have a chance to be practicing on Thanksgiving Day, which everyone will tell you is their goal. It's holding against Newman.
From a coach's standpoint, you can't get into a rhythm every time somebody's putting a flag on the ground. Now, you got to school your guys up, right? You got to school your guys up, and the legal procedures, jumping off sides, things of that nature have got to stop. But, a lot of times there's a lot of things that you've got to look at. Should we call that penalty if it doesn't involve itself in the action of the play at the point of contact or at the point of origin or at the end of the play, and you need to leave your flag in your pocket? I'm trying to be diplomatic. I don't know if I was very diplomatic.
You did a great job there.
So
it's third down.
And look, as an offensive coordinator, you can't get in some. You go from a 1st and 10 to maybe a 2nd and 7, and then all of a sudden you're at a 2nd and 12. You know what I'm saying? You just can't get into it on your scripts and your play call.
Friend looking to throw, instead will roll, and he will be brought down after a short gain.
Butler on the stop.
And that was Jaden Butler, the senior defensive back, on the tackle. And it's going to be fourth down. And let's see. I think in this spot, you got a pretty good kicker. I think you run your field goal unit out there, and it's exactly what Nelson Stewart's going to do.
Right. Great job by the Riverside defense, especially the secondary right there. Had everybody covered up. It makes Eli Friend scamper out of there. And then the safety, Jaden Butler, comes up and makes a great tackle.
Dusansky had field goals from 28 and 30 a week ago. This will be from 27 yards. And the kick is blocked. And Riverside picked up the football. I think it was low, but Jared Campbell got the block. I think the whole operation was just a little off there, and Jared Campbell gets credit for the block.
Right, a little low, but Jared Campbell is the guy that's acting as if he got his hands all over the ball. He comes off of the kicking formation's right edge and puts his hands on that ball, and Riverside still in this thing, right?
Still life in a 2-score game, 41 seconds to play in the third quarter.
7-7 tie, Rutgers St. Charles, fourth quarter.
That was a 9-play drive.
Those special teams, can be the difference in this football game, in this 21-7 contest. And if you can get something big to happen for you on special teams, that can turn the tide for your team.
And that was going nowhere quickly on first down. A fumble, yeah.
Right, I think the ball came out on the ground off of the snap. It was on the exchange. It popped out of the hands of Lasty and goes on the ground. He recovers his own fumble, if I'm not mistaken.
So second down, call it a dozen. Lasty's been held to 44 yards on the ground tonight. Lasty. It's like he got back to about the original line of scrimmage on what will be the final play of the third quarter. We've got 12 minutes to play here in reserve. Your score is Newman 21 and Riverside 7. Thanks for being with us. You're watching high school football from Crescent City Sports. So here we go. Fourth quarter getting underway. It'll be a 3rd down and 9 at the 26-yard line. Lenny Van Gilder, Wade Kaiser with you here on this Friday night in the River Parishes. Matt Merritt, our producer this evening. Matt Beal on camera. Nothing doing that time. The Newman line just got home and got the sack of Bourgeois.
Yeah,
Felipe, that was Lorzo in there as well.
Yeah,
who's in playing on defense at the moment.
Felipe Suarzo gets there. I think Paulo Guillen came from his linebacker position. Guillen to get there. They all met at the quarterback.
And Riverside has really not been able to get anything going offensively here in the second half. And timeout called by Riverside.
Oh, the play clock was running out. They're trying to get personnel on and off the field, and they were having trouble doing that. Instead of taking the delay of game and losing the yardage, they go ahead and elect to use one of their timeouts. Again, getting people on and off the field has seemed to be an issue for both teams tonight, getting their personnel in the right place. That's got to get cleaned up.
Insurance, a proud sponsor of Riverside football. Pete Dufresne, this quarter is sponsored by St. James Parish President Pete Dufresne. He would like to wish.
All right, so 46 seconds into the fourth quarter here. Newman's going to get the football back. And their possessions here in the 2 possessions in the third quarter. They had a 4-play drive that ended up in a touchdown. They got into the red zone again and had a field goal blocked. So they will get the football back and very, very likely good field position once again. Line drive kick. Everybody's going to get out of the way of it. And this will be downed at about the 45-yard line. And Wait, I think for the first time in the second half, we're going to see a play run on the Newman side of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, it's been hard to remember the last time that's happened, correct? So, but still, at this spot, it's good field position.
Has led Louisiana through difficult times and always remained the man of his word. That's why we need him for our Secretary of State.
And we've seen this Newman offense, score quickly because they have the I guess you would say, the athleticism and the prowess to do so. So.
All right, so Newman now moving right to left here in the fourth quarter. I think, considering, score and time, we're going to get a heavy dose of Mr. Randall here. And he gets it on the first play of this drive, and we'll get about 5 right to the midfield stripe. Here comes a late flag. And what's interesting is, looking over at the bench, was it an unsportsmanlike penalty of some kind? I don't know. I don't know what's coming here.
Well, I can talk to Will Randall needed to put his foot in the ground and make a north-south cut. You can't go east and west on a north and south field. Sooner or later, you got to get downhill, right? And right there, he kind of runs out of room. Great job by the defense, coming up, setting the edge, and pursuing and making a play on Will Randall.
Is this a bench warning, perhaps? Is it another coach who said something? I don't know, but the referee is over talking to Lee Roussel right now.
Well, if it's a penalty on an assistant coach, that goes on the head coach, right? If it's an unsportsmanlike.
So it will be 15 yards against the Rebels at the end of the play.
So that had to be an unsportsmanlike on the bench. They're still arguing down on the bench. He gets another one. He's heading to the locker room. And that includes if any of his staff gets a flag. It goes on the head coach. That's the way Federation rules work. And Lee Roussel's going to have to be careful right here.
And his staff, of course.
And his staff, of course. And I'm sure if there was somebody on the staff that said something, he's already had a quick word with them.
Pass incomplete. So it'll be second down and 10.
Well, Eli Friend is having a word with Anthony Jones. He's saying you should have been out, and Jones is saying, no, I'm going in. Eli Friend throws the ball to the out. They're off the page right there. That's got to get straightened out, and I'm sure that will in practice. Little lack of communication between receiver and quarterback. He was throwing to the outside shoulder, and Jones was looking for it on the inside shoulder.
Once again, Jake Randall on the carry, and we'll probably call his name a few more times before this evening is over.
Look, he's a solid sophomore now. He sticks his nose up in there. Watch him hit this counter right here. Follows his blocking. Bounces it a tad bit because the seal block doesn't get him. The backside seal block coming around just doesn't get to where it needs to be. So what does he do? He continues on out, and he looks for daylight and sticks his nose up in there and picks up what he can.
Randall now with 79 yards on the ground. 44 of those in the second half. Third down and 7. He'll get it again. Nice defense that time. Backside pursuit. And that was Caleb Brumfield from his outside linebacker position to make that play. And now it's fourth down.
Trailing the pulling lineman. Watch him trail the pulling lineman right here and come up with gold on Jacob Randall. Smart play, smart coaching. You teach them to follow the pullers. The pullers are going to take you to the ball. 9 times out of 10, he follows his pullers the way he's coached, and he makes a nice play.
So 4th and 11. This is kind of no man's land here at the Riverside 36, and Newman's going to go for it. 2 receivers bottom of your screen, 1 to the top. Friend pass incomplete. It was intended for Jones.
Out route. Ball's put on the target. Jones couldn't come up with it. You know, a lot of that stuff is timing. That was a little bit of a rollout and a throw off the break right there. A little timing with it. Still fresh. Needs to get more reps. Those things will get repped every day in practice. When they are in what is a phase of practice called pass on air. And then they'll take that pass on air and they'll bring it over to 7-on-7 where they'll pass scale against a scout defense. And then those guys will work on those things after practice, just simple timing routes to iron those little things out.
Pass is intercepted. That's Alexandra Dulitz coming back the other way, now back into Riverside territory.
Johnson's pass is intercepted by number 26, Alexander Dulitz.
We got 2 yellows in the flag, 2 yellow flags thrown on the boundary over there. This is going to be interesting to get sorted out. Dulitz comes up with the great deep route on the pick right there, right? He's step for step with the Riverside intended receiver. He comes up with the ball and has a nice run back right down the sidelines. Something happened over there in the boundary. I'm sure there will be some sort of, unsportsmanlike or dead ball personal fouls over there with hits out of bounds or some sort of extracurricular activity. But credit Dulitz to that. Nice job not letting the receiver get on top of him. They were having a conference. Good time. Maybe we can take a look at a couple of scores going on around the region.
As they sort all of this out.
Yeah, could be a couple more minutes, right? Got a third quarter score between Ruston and Jesuit. Ruston 21, Jesuit 7. Ponchatoula is still, I have 0-0 at halftime unless my scoreboard did not refresh. West Monroe up 27-13 on East Ascension. We'll see East Ascension next week. How about Pearl River 44-7 over East Jefferson?
Solid performance by the Rebels.
Yeah, solid performance by Chalmette, 21-7 at halftime over Lakeshore.
Donna 35 has opened things up on South Terrebonne. It's now 32-14 in the fourth quarter.
Here's our call.
And these are offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct calls after the play. So the interception is going to stand. And Newman will take over at the, again on the plus side of the 50 at the 37-yard line. They've gone final now in Dutchtown, by the way. Dutchtown beats Ponchatoula 6-0. You don't see
oh, my goodness,
many of those.
Good football game. Got a fourth quarter score from the North Shore. Brother Martin 13, St. Paul's 10. How about this Warren Easton score, third quarter? Warren Easton 35, Catholic Baton Rouge 20.
Make that 42-20 now, Easton. Wow.
Yep, just changed.
So the Eagles putting on a dominant performance. Randall will get to about the 30-yard line.
He's double covering that ball. He's running with it high and tight, making sure nobody gets a hand in there and rips it out from him. So he's making sure that everything is nice and tucked in. Nice cut right there to pick up extra yardage and fall forward.
make it a gain of 8 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 2. And again, it's Randall with room to run. Splits through the secondary and into the end zone. Touchdown. 29 yards on the run by Randall. His 2nd touchdown of the night, and he's over 100 for the game, Wade.
Well, he's had a nice night, right? And here's the counter play. They've been running this all night, both directions. They love to run it to the left. You get the down block. There's a kick out. There's a great block on the seal, and he's off into the secondary. Once Randall's in the secondary, no one's catching him. You know, that's almost the dagger here at 8:03. Unless Riverside can get something going, every possession will count now for the Rebels.
Riverside got a first down on the first play of the 3rd quarter and does not have one since. They went 3 and out, and then interception. False start, so Greenies will back up. So this is always a fun weekend. You've got, now for the first time, we've got high schools on Friday. You got colleges on Saturday. You got the NFL back on Sunday. So you've got no shortage of football to deal with now.
It's most wonderful time of the year.
There you go. Point after is blocked. And once again, it was Jared Campbell who got in there to get it. And once again, we've got a flag. We've got another flag,
and that's okay. That's,
yeah, I don't. So
that's
the delay of game. Yeah, the delay of game for what, a celebration, I guess, after they blocked the extra point.
Yes,
and Lee Roussel wasn't happy about it, and one of the other officials flagged him for it, and
that's going to put him in the locker room. But that second flag, and look, I'm going to speak out, right? The other official should not have thrown that flag. That the person who put him out of the game should have been in the white hat.
Right.
Okay? And that's a little overzealous by the official throwing the flag right next to the white hat. And I would be extremely upset if I was the white hat, because I just got showed up by my fellow official. And number 2, Lee Roussel needs to be extremely upset on who threw that flag. If that flag should have been thrown, it should have been thrown by the white hat to put him out. And now he's going to get written up. He's going to have to go to a sportsmanlike conference with the LHSAA. He's going to have to take a day off of practice to go do this. This is just totally uncalled for by the official that threw the second flag. The white hat was under control of the situation. I just can't say how I feel about this at this point.
Let's go back, if you're just joining us. In the 3rd quarter, we had a flag, an unsportsmanlike, or actually early in the 4th quarter, I guess, we had an unsportsmanlike flag thrown on an assistant coach, we believe, for Riverside. At least that's, just trying to read body language here. We don't get officials' announcements up here. So this is probably going to be what? The delay of game is probably a 5-yard penalty, and you're probably going to have 15 behind that. So Newman's probably going to kick off from what? From the Riverside 40-yard line here. But again, as you were saying, any foul on the bench is going to be
on the head coach.
On the head coach.
Yes, it is.
He gets it.
He gets it. And then he picked up his second there with the delay of game because of the celebration. He was extremely upset, and the flag thrown by another official, not the white hat, who was right in front of Coach Roussel, should have been the one to throw that flag. It should have been communicated by the white hat to the rest of the officiating crew. He should have brought them together after Lee Roussel got the first flag on him by someone on his sidelines. Said, hey, if there's going to be another flag on Lee Roussel, it's going to come from me. Keep your flag in your pocket. That's what a good officiating crew does. And that isn't what happened. I'm speechless to that point. I think most people know me out there that I'm pro officials. I've done my share of chewing. I've done my share of being upset on certain calls. But then I've never seen anything like that happen. That was totally uncalled for. And I guess I can say this at this point because I'm not going to get called in front of the LHSAA for it. And yes, I have been called in front of the LHSAA, guys. So anybody out there knows me, I've been there.
All right, so Newman with the 2 penalties for the delay of game and then the unsportsmanlike, both dead ball fouls. Now we'll kick off from the Riverside 40-yard line. And this thing is probably going to land somewhere in Laplace.
Yeah, a little target practice at the goalposts, right?
Yeah. So Riverside with 8:03 remaining.
Every possession is vital now. They got to come away with some points on every possession.
And let's see. Look, we've seen it happen, in basketball? Coach gets thrown out, lights a baseball.
Yep.
Coach gets thrown out, lights a fire under his team. Maybe that will happen here. Now this, you know what? And this is a good thing. Get the captains together, get the teams together, and say, look, let's clean all this up. Let's not, let this thing get out of control right now, and let's play some good football the last 8 minutes. That's what should happen.
That's good management by the White Hat, bringing both captains and teams together and saying no more unsportsmanlikes out of anybody. Let's play clean football. You're right. That's good. That's good officiating. That's good officiating management.
Handoff on first down. And a nice run, maybe the best run of the night thus far for Dedrick Lasty. It looked like he was bottled up, but again, with his size, Wade, sometimes you think he is and he's not because you just can't see him in there.
Well, you blink, he's gone, right? He gets behind a big offensive lineman, and all of a sudden he squirts right past you, and he's so fast getting downhill, and you just don't have a chance to get a hand on him. Look, he's as he continues to grow this year and next year, he's going to be something special.
On first down, run up the gut. Lasty out to about the 46-yard line, a gain of 7.
See how quick he runs downhill? See how quick he hits that hole? He's got great acceleration. And like you said, and you've been pointing out, he gets behind those big jerseys, he's hard to see.
Check that gain of 6 on the play. They'll put it back down at the 45-yard line. Lasty now with 72 yards rushing tonight. We'll run it again here. Right at the sticks. I think they will give him the line to gain, and it'll be a Riverside first down. And after just one first down in this second half, the Rebels have come up with 2 here in a 3-play sequence.
Did you see how Lasty changed directions there real quick? He had a nice little jump cut just about as he gets into the hole. He gets into the hole with the jump cut, and then he gets himself vertical. He's got some skills now. He's got nice vision.
Lasty again, that time it was well defended by the Greenies. William Dara stepping up from his linebacker position. The 210-pound senior makes the stop for no gain.
Now, I do believe Lasty will tell you it doesn't take much to bring him down, right? So you kind of blow on him, he's going to go down. He's a light kid, right?
He's 5'3", 130 pounds.
Right.
And,
so if somebody gets a lick on him, right, but that's the secret.
And look.
Can't get a lick on him.
Look. You could be successful at that size.
No doubt.
No doubt about it, especially at this level. Pass deep into quadruple coverage, incomplete.
One receiver route, nobody else out, max protection. The intended receiver runs into 4 DBs, ball's thrown up, nobody comes down with it. Kind of a Hail Mary shot, trying to get something to happen or to get a flag for an interference call. The intended receiver was number 22, Cameron Matt. Yeah, you can definitely be, and we've had throughout football history little guys like that really make their mark.
Pass pass is caught, but it's going to be short of the line to gain. A great catch. High pointed that one there. Kenrick Johnson. Yeah, he's one of those guys. I'm not sure what his best position is. We've seen him do a lot of different things tonight, and I'm not sure what his best position is.
His best position is football. He kind of reminds me of a guy over that plays for the Saints with a number 7 on. He can throw it. He can run it. He can catch it.
So it's 4th and 2, and apparently, I'm guessing this is our hydration break, and they blew it dead at 6:05 to play.
They shouldn't have blown it dead.
You don't blow it until 6 minutes, yeah.
Right.
Well, no, you could do it. It's fine, but you shouldn't have done it right there. You should let the clock run to 6 minutes unless someone called timeout.
But still, if you've got something going that's in the middle of the drive on a crucial play, you don't call it, right? I've kind of talked about this for
and we've seen it
years.
We've seen different interpretations, but now it's basically getting treated like the 2-minute warning. When you get to 6 minutes, it doesn't matter what the situation is. You finish a play if the play's in progress, but otherwise, that's, you stop it. And we saw, remember when they started doing this, I remember you'd see all kinds of interpretations. Oh, we're going to call it whenever. We're going to call it on a change of possession if it's close. We're going to call it, we're not going to stop a possession that's in progress. I saw one not get called one game until like 2 minutes left in the quarter because they let a drive finish, like soccer rules, when they're, timing at the end of the game.
On a crucial down like 4th down, you let the play go on 4th down and you stop it just before the first down play or the change of possession.
So on 4th and 2, give it away. 1st down. Nice job of picking a hole right there by Dedrick Lasty. Found this spot and gets to the 38-yard line.
That's called a jump cut. One plant, one cut, one vertical move. Look at the jump cut right here. Boom. Nice vision. Nice job. Get vertical.
Pass just out of the reach of Brennan Moss. And it's 2nd and 10.
Bourgeois moves out of the pocket on the bootleg route, and he's looking for Moss. Right, just kind of a little bit too wide. Couldn't gather it in. Hit him in his left hand and just couldn't haul it in.
So 2nd down and 10. Riverside's best drive of the second half by far goes from the 20 to the Newman 38. Pass left flat is caught. Not much doing, though, as it was well defended. That was Cameron Matt on the catch.
Great pursuit by the Greenies. You saw their secondary flying to the ball. Watch all the white jerseys buzz in here like bees. Watch this. There's the catch, and here they come. Great pursuit. You practice that. Every day in practice, you run pursuit drills. You want your people running. You tell them, I don't care if you make a mistake. Make sure you're making it full speed and you're running your tail to that football.
Gain of about a yard. It's 3rd and 9. Shovel pass that time as pursuit was coming, and it's going to turn into a 1st down, but there's a fumble at the end of the play. Who's got the football? I think Riverside was Johnny on the spot and got back on it. That was one of the offensive linemen. I believe that was Tay Drake, 72, the right guard, the senior, hustling into the play.
Nice shuttle pass, very athletic.
Just had to do something with it there and made a play. From the 22. Another
bad snap.
Bad snap, and now we're going to get our first flag in a while. We got a nice rhythm there. We had 10 plays without a flag.
Look, this has been hard on us tonight, right?
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, every time we get in a rhythm, calling the game, there's a flag out on the ground, and we've got to kind of try to figure out what's going on. It stops us. It doesn't let us get into a flow. So I can imagine what it's doing to those coordinators down there and those head coaches, right? Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Did they pick that up?
No, they'll walk it off here. 5 yards.
Did we get a signal? Did we get a explanation?
No. Well, it's the thing. They're not traveling with microphones as part of the PA system. Everyone doesn't have that, so. Lasty trying to bounce it outside. And a nice shoestring tackle to keep that from happening by Justin Wells.
Yeah, Justin Wells, right. Puts his big paw out there and just grabs that foot and trips up. Lasty.
So Lasty now with 81 yards on 21 carries this evening. Pass. The left flat is caught, but no yards after the catch that time. Cameron Matt brought it in and was hit immediately.
You could say that again.
And it'll be
Newman,
third and long.
Right, Newman Greeny comes up from his corner position. Can't quite see the number there. Gets there and really lights up Cameron Matt.
So third down, about 13 to go. Pass caught, and again, nothing doing after the catch, as that was Moss on the catch. And it's going to be fourth down on about 11.
Moss on the catch, and a guy's name we've been calling a lot tonight for that Greeny defense, Robert Carrigan, was there to make the stop.
So the line to make is right at about the 12-yard line. This is the 14th play of this drive. Pass. No, he won't pass. He tried to step up and let it fly. And pursuit from behind by Felipe Suazo to get the sack on Brock Bourgeois, and that will stop this possession. Riverside had the ball for more than 5 minutes, but just couldn't finish.
Yeah, Felipe Suazo beats the right tackle from Riverside to be able to make a nice play.
St. Charles Catholic just announced a 16-14 winner at Lutcher this evening. Terrific game up the river.
Look, those guys right up the road here at St. Charles Catholic, they find a way to win. They're coached to find a way to win. Wayne Stein, one of my former players, which I'm extremely proud of, does a great job. Ty Monica and the whole staff there at St. Charles. Those guys know how to find some little crease in order to give themselves an opportunity.
Got a chance to see Frank Monica inducted into the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame about a month ago. And this will be a delay of game penalty.
Yeah, that was outstanding for Coach Monica. I had a chance to work with him at one time back in my early years at Jesuit High School. Had the great opportunity to coach his sons, Nick and Ty, his nephew, Wayne. What a great man, what a great teacher, what a great mentor.
Yeah, the late Wayne Reese Sr., also part of that Hall of Fame class.
Another great one.
You got a chance to call his last game. That semifinal game in 2019.
Correct. Had we known, right?
1 point away from getting to the dome.
Look, Wayne Reese, in my young career as a coach back in the early 80s, not only taught me a lot of football, but he taught me a lot about, how to deal with young men, because that was his forte. He knew football, but he knew how that skill of mastering, of teaching young men. And what a great gift he was to the coaching profession.
New running back in the game, that's George Loop, number 80, wide receiver and a running back. You don't see many running backs wearing 80.
Trying to get a couple guys in there, give them a few reps.
Yeah, it's still friend at quarterback. Clock ticks down towards 90 seconds to play, and this one is Newman is going to go to 2-0. They will make the long trip to Northwest Louisiana next week to take on Benton. And then in week 4, Manny makes the long trip down from Natchitoches Parish. We got another running back in the game, and he's got room to run and might go the distance. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Tripped up. Did he get in? He got in. Touchdown. Hendricks Hill, the freshman, goes 81 yards for the touchdown.
And there's another flag. Boy, is Hendricks Hill excited, right? Look at that. He runs the counter, hits and creases it up the middle, kind of gives a little dead leg for a second, and then he finds open ground into the secondary, and he runs away from everybody. He's got some speed to burn, and he is only a freshman. As I said, there's another flag on the field over there, and I really can't tell you what this is about. It's dead ball.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got to be some kind of excessive celebration, maybe somebody leaving the bench area. So Newman now with a 33-7 lead and a point after upcoming. No, it's a sideline warning. That's it. Okay, just a sideline warning against Newman.
You know, you talk about Newman going up to Benton next week. A lot of coaches, and I used to do this, you try to put a travel game somewhere in your schedule where you got to pack it all up, and you've got to leave early, and you're going to want to dress when you get there. You got to climb on the Greyhounds or the Trailway buses. You got to get your equipment there. All of that is in preparation for playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Newman was actually supposed to make another trip up in that direction, but the game was canceled. They were supposed to play at St. Mary's in Natchitoches in Week 5. And that kick is, I don't know if it got blocked at the line again, and we've got another flag. And I don't know if they just threw somebody out there or if they're just telling him to get back to the bench.
Well, if there's a flag out, there will be a penalty.
But I saw one of the officials give a signal, and again, I don't know if he was getting the player back to the bench area or if it was to
eject him.
That's
right,
what
let's
not clear.
Let's hope
find.
it's not an ejection.
Right. Now, explain to me the rules, by the way, and you mentioned that Lee Russell will have to go to a class. There's not unlike some of the other sports. He doesn't have to sit next week, does he?
No.
He'll be able to coach next week. Okay.
He'll have to take the LHSA sportsmanship class, and if the player was ejected here, that player will also have to, if I'm not mistaken, then a player might have to sit, and he will also take that sportsmanship class.
Right, if that's we're going to see right now with the still haven't seen a signal, dead ball. It's unsportsmanlike conduct. It's against Riverside. And I did not see an ejection signal.
No
so
ejection.
he may have just been telling the player to get back to the bench to keep anything else from happening.
Right. Getting back to that traveling, I used to always try to do that. You don't know how important that is, because teams that if you don't know how to do it, and you're going to have to do it, say, how about the quarterfinals of the playoffs, and you don't know how to travel, that makes a huge difference.
Right.
You got to have that under your belt. You got to know how to travel.
You might get that situation too, even if you're a high seed. With
Absolutely.
the way the
correct.
The way the home away formula works. If you've been home team the fewest,
correct.
Or home, the other team's been home team the fewest. Somebody pulls an upset, then you may have to travel in the quarterfinals.
Absolutely. You never know. Never know. You got to be able to handle the situation.
All right, so Newman will again kick off from the Riverside side of the 50 after the penalty.
Make sure nobody sees what's going on.
Should be another target practice for the kicker. Just put it through the uprights.
And the strong leg of Duzansky will certainly lead to a touchback. And there you have it. Now, maybe not in this situation in a 33-7 game, but the idea of trying a pooch kick right here to make somebody have to cover and things like that, you don't want to do it here. But you've seen that.
You've also seen onside kicks.
Right.
Exactly.
But you're not going to do that in a 33-7 game with 66 seconds to play.
No, that's the right decision. Just kick it out the back of the end zone. Let's line up and play and Finished the minute 6 without any more flags. Tongue in cheek, right?
Exactly. Lasty will get about 3 on first down.
Look, I'm really impressed with Lasty, and I'm impressed absolutely with the 8th grader tonight, Kenrick Johnson. You know, I think the future is bright skill-wise here for Riverside. You know they're going to always have solid offensive line, defensive line play. Their skill is impressive, and I think they're going to fare well as they continue on down their schedule and into their district. You know,
Riverside
games.
next week will host Central Catholic from Morgan City.
And as you said, Newman heads all the way up north to Benton.
That was an unbelievable game last year.
Right,
with those two teams. That was over 100 points scored, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. It was in overtime, I believe, too. Or a couple of overtimes there at Lupin Field, right?
Yeah, crazy game. Well, that is going to do it. Teams will shake hands, and that will wrap up an impressive effort for the Newman Greenies. A 33-7 victory over the Riverside Rebels. Newman now 2-0 in the year. They were number 3 in the Crescent City Sports Class 2A rankings. Riverside was number 6 in Class 1A. They dropped to 1-1 on the year. Wade, final thoughts tonight.
Well, look, Newman took care of business. They still got a lot of things that they've got to iron out, and they're going to clean that stuff up. Like I already said, Riverside's skill is impressive with their young guys. They're going to get themselves back together with a good week of practice this week, and then you'll see them getting ready for Central Catholic next week, and they'll be well and get themselves well and ready to go for a good run at a district championship.
Now, a reminder, next Friday on Crescent City Sports, we're back in the River Parishes as East Ascension travels to defending Division I non-select champion Destrehan. Next Friday night, airtime just before 7 p.m. Ken Berthelot will join Wade for the call. The Spartans and the Wildcats right here next Friday night, always live and free here on Crescent City Sports. Our thanks to our producer, Matt Merritt. Matt Beal bringing you all the pictures this evening. Thanks to you, Wade. I'm Lenny Van Gilder saying so long from Reserve. Once again, your final score tonight, Newman 33, Riverside 7. Until next time, so long, everybody.